break the pattern of Spurrier quarterbacks in the past. Now Bradley Pearson to kick it away for NC State. It goes into the end zone, and it'll be run out. Here comes Chris Culliver, the speedster Culliver. A little bit of a seam. Tries to cut back, and he'll be brought down at the 23-yard line. So we'll see Tommy Beecher. 25 pass attempts in his career. Considered transferring when he was kind of overshadowed on the roster. Both Chris Smalley and Stephen Garcia have played in their career. Beecher, the least experienced guy, but he was a little more solid in the spring, which wasn't saying much because they struggled at that position.
And you know what? They're looking for a quarterback to execute, not mess up and throw interceptions. If he messes up and throws those, then you wonder how long Spurrier will be before he pulls him out.
Now Taylor Rank, the junior from Vancouver, Washington, gets the start at tailback. There's been a disciplinary action taken against Mike Davis. We'll fill you in, but this is Rank. They're trying to reward him for some solid practice play. Hey, guys, that's a huge improvement for the NC State defense. Remember the first play a year ago? They take on UCF, and Kevin Smith goes untouched 80 yards to the house.
Not the way you want to start the season. Not even touch down the sidelines. That's an amazing improvement right away for NC State defensively. Mark Arch, the D corner, has got to be happy with that.
Well, they're feeling better today already.
They got behind 25-3 to UCF and rallied, but that set the tone for a rough year on defense. A 2-yard gain for Rank. 2nd and 8. And it's the first pass attempt for Beecher. It's completed to Kenny McKinley. He's the top receiver, chasing all the school records, held by Sterling Sharp. First down to the 35.
You know, you see the two tights, the protection. They're going to make sure that Beecher is protected and he can throw on time without getting hit and be safe with the throws.
And I think we're going to see a lot of inventive ways offensively for South Carolina to get Kenny McKinley the football, put the ball in the hands of their best playmakers, and let them go make plays.
McKinley, 153 career receptions. He's a preseason Playboy All-American, one of the top receivers in the SEC. Rank, still the tailback on first down. Tommy Beecher with the play clock winding down. Gives it off to Rank for a short gain. Guys, let's check the impact players on this Gamecock offense.
Well, Kenny McKinley, you were talking about him just a moment ago, Jesse. He's a guy, though, that can get the ball down the field with his runs after the catch. They've got to get the ball in his hands.
Jared Cook is a guy that has to complement Kenny McKinley this season. Too much in the past. It's been too much Kenny McKinley. They need someone else to step up.
And the running back is Mike Davis. We expect to see him, but he had an incident involving breaking into a refrigerator at the Gamecock weight room, which he didn't cop to, and he's been disciplined. Play action. Beecher still has the football. Fights to get away from pressure, but he'll be dropped at the 30-yard line by Willie Young, the Wolfpack's fine pass rusher. Not easy to block 97, is it?
So you got to wonder now, Jesse, as the quarterback's eyes, he's looking downfield. There's nobody. He's trying to find the tight end on the right side to come across. You see that he comes, but he's there. He's covered up.
Nice is so predicated on timing. The ball has to be out when you hitch. If it's not, you got to throw it away or you have to check it down. You cannot afford to eat sacks.
3rd and 15 for Beecher. That's McKinley in the slot to the near side. Beecher fires over the middle, incomplete. No, it's intercepted. He was looking for Mo Brown, and it's picked off by Jamal Simmons. It sets up NC State inside the Gamecock 35, and a mistake for Beecher in his first series as a starter.
Steve Spurrier trying to get all the yardage back. They run 4 vertical down the football field, and Tommy Beecher tries to throw his post to his tight end, Jared Cook. He overthrows it, and he throws it right into the hands of safety Jamal Simmons.
You know, it's really difficult to make that throw over those 2 linebackers. The linebackers did their job of getting back and forcing the most difficult throw that he could make.
Simmons is the nephew of Clyde Simmons, who used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. You guys remember him? Yeah. So, good field position for Russell Wilson, the redshirt freshman, in the shotgun in his first snap as a college quarterback. He's got pretty good escapability, but he couldn't get away from big Nathan Pepper, the tackle.
If there's a strong part to this team, it is the defensive line at South Carolina. Very active, but Wilson has those legs, and they're ready for him, aren't they? I mean, this team's ready for him to run.
They have to be ready for him to run. The offensive coordinator, Dana Bible for NC State, says he's not just a guy that can stretch the play. He can get into the create mode. He's dangerous with his legs.
Well, Russell's been told his whole career, you're too short to play quarterback. You can't play 2 sports, which he's done, so he's trying to prove doubters wrong with a big effort here tonight. But once again, the pursuit for the Gamecock defense, and they drop Andre Brown for a short gain. And for a team that's trying to get off on the right foot, NC State wants to cash in on this turnover.
I know both of you guys are highly impressed with the upside of South Carolina's defense.
I think if they can stay healthy this year, this will be one of the defenses we talk about all season long. They have a chance to be great.
10 starters back and plenty of depth. 3rd and 13. Wilson under pressure, throws it away. Not complete. Trying to come back to the football along the sidelines there was the receiver Jordan Lindsay. Pressured him.
Well, one of the things that you have to do is contain. Look at the outside pass rush lanes of South Carolina's defense and the discipline of staying in their lanes.
One thing offensive coordinator Dana Bible told us was he was afraid his O-line could not stick up against the pass rush from South Carolina, and you saw a good example of it right there.
Now they'll go for it on 4th down, out of field goal range. 4th and 13 for O'Brien's offense. Wilson takes a shot downfield. It'll be well overthrown. Excellent coverage on Darrell Davis by Carlos Thomas, the nickelback. So the Wolfpack come up empty. 4 plays, lose 3 yards following the interception, and South Carolina will take over. We are early. Last year, a shocking kind of tale of 2 seasons. USC got up to number 6 in the BCS. They were 6-1, but the time to sell the stock was right then. Then they lost their last 5 games, and that's a huge motivation coming into this season. Flags and a false start. One of the wrinkles, fellas.
False start, offense, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
This is Steve Spurrier Jr. is the play caller of record. We had a long meeting with the head ball coach. I left kind of more confused when I got there, Jesse. Who's really in charge?
Well, it sounds like Steve Spurrier Jr. is calling the plays, but make no mistake about his heartbeat if he doesn't like a play caller or formation, anything.
And Steve says that his son is ready for this. He's been around for 14 years coaching. 1st and 15 after the penalty, and Beecher, a designed run. Beecher has room, shows his ability, and dives to the 43.
Well,
don't see many design runs for quarterbacks in Spurrier offense.
Well, on 1st and 15, not a good play call, right? You know, for a lot of situations, but the quarterback draw is a safe one for him. I like it. If Junior made that call, kudos to him. Nice job blocking downfield as well by your lineman.
I guarantee that was not in the game plan. When NC State defensively was looking at Tommy Beecher and worried about him, they were not worried about him beating him with his legs.
2nd and 4, I formation. Taylor Rank is still the tailback ahead of Mike Davis, and he gets the call. Rank dropped for a loss. Immediate penetration by Nate Irving, the backer.
Nate Irving is one of those guys that defensive coordinator Mike Archer thinks can be special. And he mentioned to us there's about 5 guys on this defense that if they step up and play well this year, they're going to have a chance to have a great year defensively.
And here was the problem last year. 3rd down for the Gamecock offense. They need 6 yards. It's McKinley to the bottom of the screen, the featured receiver. Keep an eye on Cook, the tight end. Beecher looks short for McKinley. He's got it. He's got a 1st down to the 48. In front of DeAndre Morgan, the corner. So 2 catches early for Kenny McKinley.
Yeah, a really nice job. Great execution on the route running, and they were able to guess right here. So now watch State on the inside came with a linebacker blitz. A good little bit of a rub there, pick to get McKinley open.
That was Jared Cook, the tight end, huh? Rubbing. Rank is the lone setback. Short gain into Wolfpack territory as we check in with Reese Davis in the studio. Reese?
All right, Chris, checking in on Georgia Tech in the debut of the Paul Johnson era against Jacksonville State. A little option, as you'll see plenty of. Jonathan Dwyer taking the pitch and scoring. Now, they're throwing it around a little bit. Josh Nesbitt just completed another long pass. They're down near the 20-yard line again and up 14-0 as the first quarter comes to a close. Hurricanes also on top of Charleston Southern by 2 touchdowns.
All right, thanks, Reese. Mike Davis has checked into the game. He's the normal starter at tailback, and on 2nd and 7, Beecher, a high throw over the head of Wesley Saunders, the tight end. Pressure again on Beecher, and let's go down to Aaron Andrews, who has more on the Mike Davis situation.
Chris, you mentioned earlier Mike Davis breaking into a refrigerator in South Carolina's gym, and they had to look at surveillance video to find out that it was him, and so Steve Spurrier decided that he would not start this game because of that, and also because of how well Taylor Rank was playing. And then also it came out this week that he had missed a few classes during spring, and that Steve Spurrier will actually suspend him for a game coming up. Not sure which one it is, but I think Wofford maybe you could pencil in.
That's a pretty good guess. Yeah. Davis in there on 3rd and 7. Beecher flushed, and he'll be dropped. They cannot block these NC State guys up front. An offensive line, a question mark for South Carolina coming in.
For both teams. You know, this is one of those feeling each other out. They're trying to get there. The play situation, you know, they're trying to make sure they manage it right. But as they've told us in their meetings, it's okay to punt in this ball game early on.
Absolutely. And NC State feels really good defensively, rushing 4 guys only in this game. They feel like they can get a lot of pressure on Tommy Beecher with only 4 players.
Jeff Reiskamp with the sack. So Spencer Lanning is on the punt. Low lefty boot, and it's right for the end zone. So a promising start for the Gamecock offense, but it peters out, and Russell Wilson and the Wolfpack will take over for their second. Columbia, 2 first-time starting quarterbacks, 2 pretty good defenses, and the defenses have dominated in the early going. NC State set up at the 20, and they hand it off to Andre Brown, who's got blockers on the left side and about 6 yards. Andre, one of the seniors. They're missing Jamel Eugene, who would be their starting tailback. He is at home with an ankle injury.
Andre Brown's a guy, he's multifaceted. He can run, catch, and block. He's very tough. He's going to have to be against this tough defense.
Anthony Hill comes back, a very talented tight end that can run and catch the ball. They got to have him underneath.
TJ Graham, he's a speedster, guys. He 100 and 200-meter state champion in North Carolina. He's a freshman. He'll return punts.
Ted Larson played on the defensive line this year, last year, so he's got to really step up, play well today.
It's Brown cutting it back, but nothing on 2nd and 4. It is tough to block those defensive tackles for South Carolina.
Ojibwe and Nathan Pepper are guys they believe are maybe the strength that they can anchor around on this defensive line. And you got 52, Jasper Brinkley back in the middle.
And this defense gave up 209 yards a game on the ground last year. They are embarrassed about that. They're trying to do something about that to get off to the right foot today.
Well, they did something. They brought in Ellis Johnson as defensive coordinator. One of the changes that Spurrier made at the end of last season, which ended with that 5-game skid, he felt like they had to reinvent themselves, and they have a new scheme and a veteran defensive coordinator in Ellis Johnson, whose defense will try to get the Wolfpack off the field on 3rd and 4. Wilson, nice accurate throw, complete for a first down. Anthony Hill, a tight end, a weapon for the Wolfpack too.
And it's a read route here. Now the Hill has to do, once he gets into his route, he's got the option inside. He can go, or he can go to the outside. On the left side of your screen, you're going to see him come up, and he's going to choose to go to the outside. Very nice job of reading the coverage.
It's a nice throw by Russell Wilson also to protect his receiver, give it behind him. He saw the squeeze by the corner and gave him a nice catchable ball to get the first down.
Yeah, it's good to have Hill back. He slides down after
down. What's really interesting right now is the way Dana Bible is calling this game for his young redshirt freshman quarterback. We weren't sure if he was going to be timid, close the playbook, run the football a lot. He's given him a lot of chances to throw it.
And we've seen some deep throws. And I think that he has to get Anthony Hill involved intermediate. You know, now come back, get it under control, have some composure, high percentage pass.
Absolutely.
Bible, the guy that called the plays, of course, for O'Brien when Matt Ryan was the quarterback there. Wilson, wise decision in his first start. Throw it away as he was hammered as he let it go. Nathan Pepper got there. He's a big guy. He's almost 290, but he's quick.
Nathan Pepper's a guy that missed a lot of time last year, making his impact felt right away. This South Carolina defense is excited to have him back. And look at the shot by Cliff Matthews.
Is that a flag?
Welcome to college football, Russell Wilson.
That might have been a little late. They haven't done much hitting. Spurrier didn't like that in practice. It's all pent up for tonight.
Doesn't look like it's impacted him negatively yet, does it?
Play clock running down just at 2 seconds on 3rd and 5. Nope, they didn't get it off, and Wilson, I don't believe, noticed.
Okay, 18, offense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Now the new clock rule, fellas, you have to be very quick this year. It's more like the NFL system.
And you wonder sometimes the redshirt freshman coming into his first game on the road, he's got to be able to manage this game. It doesn't mean throwing to the right guy all the time. Sometimes that can mean just getting guys in and out of the huddle.
We did a game. South Carolina hosted Kentucky last year. Andre Woodson, a Heisman candidate, came in here and did not have a great game. I mean, this crowd, this atmosphere, it impacts the visiting quarterback.
Browns the setback on 3rd and 11. And that's just bailout. And once again, great pressure. It was Jordan Lindsay, and Wilson immediately on the move.
South Carolina's defensive front, just about every snap is crossing. They're doing stunts. They're moving around. So NC State's got to figure out how to pass off them.
They're going to have to find a way to do it, get creative. If that unfortunately means leaving tight ends in, leaving the running backs in, you have to give Russell Wilson a chance to make plays because he hasn't had those opportunities so far early.
Nope. He was just 1 for 5 in his first start. So Bradley Pearson back to punt, and Captain Munnerlyn, the speedy corner for the Gamecocks, is back to receive. Kind of a short boot. Munner at the 21-yard line. So the Gamecocks defense laying the lumber and dictating in the early going against the young quarterback. And he has continued to tinker with the clock rules. It'll be 40 seconds after each play, not when they spot the ball, but the minute the play is blown dead. It's more like the NFL rule. They try to get some more plays in there, but it means that the offense is going to have to be aware, maybe be more up-tempo.
Absolutely. Get more plays in, but you can also slow the game down. You can bleed the clock if you want to use up all 40 seconds.
Davis, a tailback. He's got it on first down. There's Mike Davis. Breaking tackles. Pursuit. Finally gets him after a tough 4-yard gain. For Davis, the senior. And there is a late flag on the tackle. Took his medicine, missed a couple of series, and he's right back out there. Davis, the heir apparent for Corey Boyd. And a personal foul on the Gamecocks.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Number 70, offense.
You got Garrett Anderson, the center.
Second out.
Garrett Anderson, number 70, the center, used to be a guard. Comes in. You know what? How can that be a flag? And a while ago, when Cliff Matthews smokes the quarterback, he doesn't get flagged.
The rule hitting the quarterback this year, if there is an intent to punish, it should be a flag thrown. And I thought Cliff Matthews kind of gave him a good shot right at the chops.
Yeah, he went after 170-pound DeAndre Morgan. Come on.
Don't ever stand around a pile, though.
That's true. That's true.
Don't linger.
2nd and 19. Beecher to McKinley. McKinley in traffic. Shows the elusiveness. Gets back to the 23rd catch for the soon-to-be all-time leading receiver at South Carolina. Let's go back to Restate.
You in HD for the first time. Vanderbilt in Oxford, Ohio against Miami University. And DJ Moore of Vanderbilt takes the punt and turns on the jet. All SEC caliber player, plays on both sides of the ball for the Doors. It set up a short touchdown run. The 91-yard return. Doors up 17-3.
Reese, thank you. We'll see South Carolina at Vanderbilt a week from tonight. Remember, Commodores came in here and held Spurrier's offense to 6 points in a win.
False start. 78, offense.
And it's Justin Sorensen, and the penalties mounting for South Carolina. It's the 3rd flag. 2 of them on the offensive line.
Down here, you don't want to mess up.
No,
right?
no.
This is what makes Spurrier mad.
And the South Carolina offense so far has been sputtering, and they've put themselves through penalties in these 3rd and long situations. I don't care who's calling the plays then. Those are tough to convert.
Out of the formation on 3rd and 17. Beecher flips it off. It's caught. Freddie Brown, but a very short gain. And here comes a punt.
Well,
so penalties undermine the possession, Craig.
Don't you get the feeling, though, that there have been 2 false starts, and a lot of that, the snap's not coming in a timely manner. So Beecher's got to get with the center, and he's got to figure that out. Ball's got to come out on time.
It's got to come out on time. You got to get together with this unit and try to keep these downs manageable right now, because you're just not going to give yourself a chance. This has been the MO for South Carolina all night so far.
Jaron James and T.J. Graham, as a true freshman, are back to receive the punt. This is James. Excellent coverage. The Gamecocks have a new special teams coach. Ray Verkleski's come over from Maryland. This is a big area of improvement Spurrier hopes this season. The Applebee's weekend menu. A couple of really intriguing games at kind of neutral domes. Illinois, Mizzou, Bama, Clemson.
Go ahead. You draw. Get it in early. You want to get over there.
I don't want to draw yet.
Yeah.
Utah, Michigan. I think Rodriguez may go with a walk-on Nick Sheridan at quarterback.
Well, and you know what? He does run the ball better. Watching him in practice like he's got Pat White yet. He does not have
like the Utes there in an upset, the big house. This is Andre Brown. Fumbles the football. South Carolina. Emmanuel Cook forced it. Captain Munnerlyn recovered it. 1 turnover for each side in the first quarter now.
Andre Brown doing a nice job running hard. They got a great lane for him to run through. You see Jordan Lindsay punch the football. It pops out. Captain Munnerlyn there to recover.
As a running back, that's the toughest play to carry the football in. When you know somebody's on the outside from behind, but yet you've got the pressure from the inside, you have to be mindful of that and know that somebody's there that you can't see, but you feel them.
I'll tell you what, for a defense that hasn't done a lot of tackling, they're doing a real nice job swarming to the football in this game.
Tom O'Brien says, uh-oh. Here we go again. Turnovers were the problem in the first half of the season. They cleaned it up late. Beecher on first down. Complete once again to McKinley, who spins near a first down. We get about 9 yards before Nate Irving stopped them. But turnovers were the killer last year for the Wolfpack. And yes, Sterling, all your records are disappearing because here comes McKinley after you.
Everything's underneath right now. You see this little tight box, but how many times do you expect when your days at Florida with Spurrier, you ought to come out after turnover right there, and you're going deep, aren't you?
Absolutely. You know, in those days, we took a lot more shots, but I think with this offensive line, I'm not sure Steve Spurrier's comfortable.
Beecher pumping, throws down the sidelines, and he overthrows Cook.
I think Craig knows Spurrier's offense maybe better than I do. How about our guy right here calling the play downfield?
I don't know about that, but I never got yanked by him.
2nd and 1, though. Good chance to take a shot, right?
Absolutely. Great opportunity. Took one there. Almost had Jared Cook on the double move.
Well, let's see if South Carolina, the offense has not been clicking in the early going under Beecher. Undone by an interception and a penalty, but now set up by their defense. We got Beecher keeps it. A hard-earned run. I think he's right at the marker at about the 36, maybe just short. DeAndre Morgan, that little 170-pounder, combining with Leonard on the stop. I mean, they are short.
Stay in the huddle. Go for it.
I don't know of another quarterback run there, Jesse. What is it, Steve Sr. or Steve Jr. that's calling that play on 3rd and 1, the Beecher keeper?
That might be a Steve Spurrier Jr. play, but remember.
Gordon get it on 4th down. There's a straight-ahead sneak and a good push from the guys up front.
Well, and up front, you know what? Both of these teams want to come out and get physical up front. You know, this is a group, and this one here is led by the center and the 2 guards, and just make a V in the middle of the field. Make your V, and let's get them out of there, fellas. Cheek to cheek. Score with your man. Get across, and you got a chance.
Batchelor. But he got enough to get the first down.
You got to love his intensity, though. You got to love his intensity.
Taylor Rank back in at tailback. And Beecher takes a first down shot. Intercepted. It's picked off by Nate Irving. Interception number 2 for Beecher. And what about that hook? What about the long leash that Spurrier was going to give him?
This is the kind of stuff when quarterbacks find defenders. This hits Nate Irving right in the face mask. He's trying to hit his receiver on a curl route, and Nate Irving just watches Beecher's eyes, plays that hook area.
Look at that linebacker. There he is, and that linebacker was smart to get back to where the throw over him is just almost undoable, right? You can't make that throw. Great linebacking instincts and discipline to get beyond his drop route.
That leash a little bit might be getting a little tight.
Well, they put the leash on it. At least they got the collar on now.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you see Smelly. He's hanging out nearby.
New quarterback for NC State. This is Daniel Evans, the senior, and he hands off to Brown, the man who just fumbled. So Russell Wilson has his shot, and we'll see him again. This was planned to get Daniel Evans, the veteran, in at quarterback.
Last offensive series in the interception. If VA can kind of get over and find out if Junior's talking to him and what he's saying to Beecher, you know, what's going on over on the sidelines, because you know that they have to start talking about where the linebackers are dropping in coverage, and you can't make that throw.
So while Beecher tries to regroup, Daniel Evans tries to make the most of his opportunity. It's Brown. And Brown rumbles for a first down to the 45. Now, Evans, he was a hero back in 2006 as a sophomore. He had played last year before a shoulder injury. So Wilson, he'll come back in the game, but this two-quarterback system is what Tom O'Brien said he was going to use.
O'Brien also said, hey, I want to play close for fifth quarter to win the ball game, and he's made it through one quarter on the road without any mishaps.
And he's winning the turnover battle, which I think is probably the
end of a quarter that features 3 turnovers and only 96 combined yards. Scoreless after one, opening night in Columbia. Time starting quarterback struggling a bit in the first quarter. A pair of interceptions by the Wolfpack defense. And they'll set up at the 45-yard line as we start the second quarter. Again, Daniel Evans is at quarterback, and he hands off to Andre Brown. A short gain over the right side as we check in again with Reese Davis.
Chris, Sports Center right now, and you'll want to listen closely to this. News from the U.S. Open. First time in more than 4 decades. The women's #1 seed out in the second round. Julie Kwan upsets the top seed Ana Ivanovic in 3 sets. Kwan ranked 188 in the world. Yankees staying alive barely. Giambi a walk-off single. He drove in all 3 as the Yanks beat the Red Sox 3-2. Stay current with ESPN News Sports Center after the game.
Reese, thank you. A second down completion to Owen Spencer, and he is leveled right away by Jasper Brinkley, the leader of this defense. Great to see him back on the field.
I think the most impressive thing about Jasper Brinkley is for a 270-pound middle linebacker, he plays great in space.
He plays that robber kind of a deal. They're not going to put him man-to-man because he's so big. Couldn't run with the back, but he'll sure hit you if you leave it there.
Missed all of last year with a knee. Evans flushed, chased. Has a man downfield, wide open, incomplete. The ball hung up just a bit for T.J. Graham, and Chris Culliver recovered.
Culliver recovered just in time to hit him as the ball got there, but that's a nice job of Evans in the backfield with his footwork to buy some extra time for a shot at the big play.
Just creating the play and extending the play. Cliff Matthews was down his throat, and you see T.J. Graham, the speedster, the freshman, got behind the secondary. He's a track guy. You see Chris Culliver doing a great job breaking that play up.
That was catchable. He's a track guy, but you got to make that catch.
So in other words, he's still a track guy until he makes a catch.
Pearson on the punt again. Munnerlyn is deep. That was a chance to really set up the Wolfpack in scoring position, and it slips away. The drop by the freshman. A punt off the side of the foot will roll dead at about the 5-yard line. Gillette presents kickoff week on ABC Saturday nights. Alabama and Clemson in the Georgia Dome, where game day will be. Michigan State against a redemption-hungry Cal team. Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast. Check local listings for the game in your area. We'll talk more about the matchups this Saturday as the evening unfolds. But now, well, you got to be careful if you're Tommy Beecher. 2 picks already. Now you're at your own 5-yard line.
I wonder what's going on at Tommy Beecher's head right now. He's wondering, might he get the yank? He's seen it happen a lot in his career. Here he is coming out deep in his own area.
It's Mike Davis. He gets the call. Nothing doing. Here are the 2 picks that Beecher threw in the first quarter.
You know, and I think really you have to look at the middle of the field and where the linebackers are forcing the throw to go, Jesse.
Well, I think the problem, and defense has done a great job anticipating his throws. He's hit guys right in the face with the football, though. They're not deflection, ricochet picks. He's throwing the ball right to the defense. He's got to settle down, play within the system, compose himself, and get this thing going.
Yeah, Beecher had 3 interceptions in the final spring scrimmage. That's bad, but Chris Smelley had 5 picks. So by virtue of only throwing 3, that put Beecher ahead for the starting job.
You just want to be a little bit better than the guy you're going against.
3 in the play clock on 2nd and 9, and they'll have to spend a timeout here. Better to do that than hurry the play. Continues Labor Day night from the Rose Bowl, a big test. A tricky game for Tennessee out of conference against a UCLA team that's had to turn to its 3rd quarterback. 8 o'clock Eastern time.
I think it'll be all right.
You think it'll be okay?
It's only tricky because it's a couple thousand miles.
Yeah. The New Hazel era begins for the Bruins. So 2nd and 9. Senior and junior standing next to each other. Who made this call? Beecher. On throw to Deion LaCorn, who slips a tackle and gets a first down. Deion LaCorn's the sophomore who stepped up in the second half of last year. They need a complimentary receiver for McKinley.
This play should have been squashed right away. It's man-to-man coverage, and DeAndre Morgan has to make that tackle. Give Deion LaCorn a lot of credit for slipping it.
Mike Archer, the defensive coordinator, made it real clear. When we do blitz, when we do bring pressure, we have to tackle in open space. We can't allow something like that to happen. I mean, this is a defense now that's forced South Carolina to start inside their own 25 3 times. So you want to keep them back there, and they let them off the hook.
LaCorn is the guy they call the bowling ball, which is kind of a weird nickname for a receiver, right? You don't really want that nickname, but he's like 220 pounds, 5'11".
Well, you saw it right there.
I don't think I would like to be called the bowling ball. I'm a receiver. Here's Davis trying to bowl through some tacklers, but they're having a heck of a time blocking the Wolfpack guys up front. You can see why Archer really believes this is an excellent defensive line.
Very active, but to me, it falls on the offensive line at South Carolina. I mean, there's no push over there. They might be manning up, but there's no push going on.
I think we got to give NC State some credit. Mike Archer feels that Antoine Holmes and Alan Michael Cash are 2 all-ACC caliber D tackles, and they're having their way right now. You're right, Craig, with the South Carolina O-line.
We're at 17 yards rushing on 12 carries. Here comes a blitz. It's complete to McKinley. Beecher got destroyed after the throw, and McKinley dropped for a short gain.
Did you see Palmer?
Did he flinch?
He flinched. He saw it coming. Jesse's over here moving.
Trying to yell at him down on the field. I couldn't get it to him. Jeremy Gray does a great job of disguising the corner blitz, and that's what this defense has to do today. Look at him just creeping in here at the bottom of your screen. Tommy Beecher never saw him, and he's lucky he got that ball away. That was a big, big hit. Beecher took right there. Boy, oh boy. I felt like we could see that coming from a mile away.
You were moving, dude. You were ready to get out of the way.
I was running away from you. I felt like he was right beside me.
It's Gray who shake it up and comes out of the game on 3rd and 7.
Prior to the snap, false start, 66, offense.
Yeah, he's having troubles up front. They can't block him, and they're making penalties.
3 of those.
Yeah.
3 of those. Stupid little things. You know, maybe the left tackle is just afraid that the speed on the outside by Willie Young is so great on them, they're trying to move before they get the ball really snapped.
And it is the first game, and you're curious, I think, as a coach to see how your players are going to react. But these are the things you're supposed to do right from day one.
They're at home, too.
And you're at home.
And Wolfpack defense is pretty good, but you got teams like Georgia and LSU and some others in this SEC that are pretty good too. 2 seconds on the play clock. They just get it off. Beecher, little short delivery over the middle, complete. And rambling for a first down is Davis up near the 30, so he got lost in traffic.
It's a nice play call by Steve Spurr. It's just a little running back middle screen, and Mike Davis does a great job in the open field following blockers to get to the sticks and get the first down.
I like the way Mike Davis was patient as a ball carrier. He found his little opening, allowed the rush to get up the field, catches the football.
You know what's nice about Mike Davis, too? He falls forward.
Needed 12, got 13. Davis again. And the delay. Wow, a helmet comes flying out of there. Was it Davis's hat?
Wow.
Yeah, sure was.
Wow.
The head wasn't in it, thankfully.
Does it not seem to you like NC State's defense is running to the ball? You can tell these guys have been tackling all training.
We watched their spring training game, and they weren't running and playing as fast as they are right now. But that's a good indication as to how much they're starting to understand this. Man, that's a blow. Nice shot. Do you think that's a highlight one for you?
Defense enjoy that, don't they? Davis got 2. Taylor Rank back in the ball game on 2nd and 8. Play action. Beecher. He's quick to take off, isn't he? Gets about 6. He'll set up 3rd and short as we check back with our buddy Reese in the studio.
Chris, as you well know, you just don't stroll into Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco and walk out with a win. Well, you might. Wake Forest against Baylor. Riley Skinner, Chip Brinkman, and the Demon Deacons on top 10-0 after 1.
Reese, thanks. Wake Forest, a team to watch in the ACC. That's
why not? Riley Skinner, I mean, you know, returning guy, a well-coached football team.
Josh Adams, the running back. Defense scored 8 touchdowns last year. One of the best kickers in all college football.
On 3rd down, it's a power run to Rank, and he didn't get it. They tried the right side. No one was fooled.
You know, this is at least good for South Carolina now, keeping these 3rd downs manageable. They haven't had a lot of these so far this game. Your playbook is wide open on these calls.
You've got to punt the ball here, though. I mean, it's 4th and 1. Unless Senior comes out and puts the hat back on and makes the call, Junior isn't going to go for it.
Well, we've seen this offensive line so far struggle with the D-line. This is showing a lot of confidence in your football team, expecting to pound
It's showing craziness. 37-yard line, 4th and 1. It's a long one. First down. Woo! That's just a frustration call, isn't it, for Spurrier?
I think it is. You know, after a while, he starts getting a little antsy. He wants the chains moving. It's 0-0 up on the scoreboard. That's got to change. That's the only way you're going to get it done there. That's been one of their most successful running plays so far, has been that QB sneak.
Well, and also, Spurrier's sitting there thinking, hey, look, at some point, NC State's going to take advantage of their starting field position, which has been around the 40-yard line. You can't punt the ball back and continue to put your defense under pressure.
You could just risk giving the ball to
I wouldn't have done that. That was a Senior call. We'll ask him.
Here's a first down throw. Beecher takes a shot down the middle. Interception number 3. He was looking for Mo Brown. Justin Byers made the pick, but a flag down where Beecher was hit. And this may come back. Willie Young pressured Beecher. And it's going to be a hold against South Carolina, which of course will be declined now in a 1/4.5. Beecher's got the hat trick, 3 picks.
Well, he's trying to go down the middle of the field on a deep post route. Again, this has to come out on time. He gets flustered by Willie Young coming to the left side. Mo Brown, the ball's thrown a little bit behind him. Justin Byers does a nice job just locating the football and plugging it.
Well, I think what happens a lot of times with young quarterbacks is they don't realize at the secondary how fast they are at making ground back up. They may be beaten, but those corners are so fast, you have to throw the ball on time with a lot more velocity to your receiver.
Russell Wilson back at quarterback. Wolfpack set up at the 24. And it's a straight ahead handoff to big Andre Brown. So Beecher, he's thrown 13 passes. And the good news is only 2 have hit the ground. Bad news is 3 have been to the guys in the white jerseys.
I think the hardest thing to do in Spurrier's offense is to trust the system and to trust that if you throw it into an area on time, your receiver's going to be there. He has not been able to do that yet tonight. He's been flustered a little bit. He's missed guys. He's got to trust the system because that's the only way you're going to succeed in this offense.
And this is really an argument for how quarterbacks just can't be put into a system and it works for the quarterback. I mean, it takes time to understand. And he's going against a defense. Mike Archer's been around a long time and is a good football coach and defensive coordinator.
On 2nd down, there's a handoff and a broken tackle by Andre Brown. First down across the 35. Well, he's going against his own instincts, too, because this is not Steve Spurrier, Jesse, as you know, to be patient with the guy who's making mental mistakes and throwing picks.
That's right. No, in my time playing for him, if that was me out there, I would have been out about 2 picks ago. I can promise you that. He's being more composed. He's letting his guy play a little bit, but we're sitting up here looking at each other. We're wondering how tight that leash is getting.
Yeah. I wonder if Beecher's wondering. -7 turnovers last year. They were determined to clean that up.
This is a Tom O'Brien offense there. That's old BC style, isn't it?
Andre Brown doesn't quite have those big BC-type linemen to run behind yet.
But that's what he wants to do. When you get the turnovers, he wants to come out and get physical up front and run the ball, keep the football away from the opponent.
And the O-line is getting a good push with 2 players that played on the D-line at this time last year. John Beddix at left guard and Ted Larson at center. These guys were playing defense at this time last year. They're real physical, and you can see it demonstrating itself.
Let's see what Wilson's got on 3rd or 2nd and 6. And it's Brown again, run out of bounds in midfield. Manuel Cook on the tackle, but the running game for NC State starting to make its headway.
Well, boys, you're talking about that. Look at here in your center, right here in the middle of the field. Watch how the center turns and gets around the corner here. Ted Larson, the old defensive lineman you just mentioned. Not bad footwork. Getting around there, getting the body out there, cutting them down.
It's 1st and 10. The ball's on the 50 for NC State.
And now they give a rest to Andre Brown, and they bring in Curtis Underwood. Brown already with 55 yards rushing against this defense that thought it was going to be much improved against the run. First carry for Underwood. That's about 4.
I'll tell you what's interesting also on this offense from NC State. This was not an offense that we thought could dictate the tempo to the defense. We didn't think they were big enough, physical enough. We thought they had to kind of use different formations and shifts to try to find matchups. This is just smash-mouth football, Greg.
Remember we talked about in the open here about the uncertainty of game 1, week 1. You don't really know what you have. Spurrier really didn't know what he had. You know, this NC State team, they've been working hard. I mean, Tom O'Brien, this isn't his first rodeo, buddy.
Jasper Brinkley, the defensive leader, has missed the last few plays. We'll keep an eye on him as this is Underwood turning the corner, hammering ahead. He'll set up another 3rd and short. Brinkley, of course, the knee problem all of last year, and some worry, significant worry, that knee would hold up, and there he is on the sidelines.
Well, you know what? This goes back to the whole theory of hitting and contact in training camp, and Spurrier doesn't do a whole lot of it, so you can't really get that conditioning.
Ellis Johnson, defensive coordinator, told us it is a necessary evil in college football. You have to tackle. If you don't do it, then you don't know what you have come game day.
3rd and 2. Design run. Wilson slides at the 35 for a first down. Cook on the stop.
Now, clearly, you're going to see lack of garnet colors going to the quarterback. That means fatigue is starting to play a part on the defense right now. That's close to a flag.
It's very close to a flag. There was no question the quarterback was going down to the ground. We've seen 2 calls now where there could have been questionable roughing the passer calls. Flags haven't been thrown.
7 plays in this drive, all of them runs. So they're banging away, and then Gamecock defense. Underwood still in the game, and he's got it. Now he's a lead blocker for his quarterback, and Wilson takes a huge hit. 2-yard loss. Ouch, young man.
Hey, you know that's.
And he's down, Wilson.
Oh, you hate to see that.
Jordan Lindsay, defensive end, the senior, laying a big hit. If Underwood was going to be the lead blocker, he didn't exactly make good contact for his quarterback. So as they check out the freshman on the field, we'll take a quick timeout. Still scoreless in Columbia. Man, it's a tough sport. That's not an attempt to injure. It's just a guy running to the football. This is the play before their injury.
Well, and O'Brien had made a distinct change of strategy. The first 16 plays, North Carolina State had 7 passes. The last 8 plays, they've had no passes. They've been running the ball. And South Carolina was on their heels, weren't they, Jesse?
They were on their heels. They sure were. NC State was really dominating up front in the O-line. I'll say this. Russell Wilson has taken some big-time shots so far this game, going back to the first quarter.
Yeah, it's been a tough baptism against a very hard-hitting defense. You can see they brought a cart out on the field. Tom O'Brien so filled with admiration for the intangibles that Wilson brings to this team, the leadership, besides the athletic ability, just the moxie. He kind of has the it factor, and he's so popular with his teammates. Chance to check The standings, the Associated Press preseason top 10. Georgia, Ohio State 2. They're third of the coaches. USC and Ohio State flip-flopping, and of course they'll meet in the Coliseum in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the team in there that really has a chance to jump up at number 10 is Auburn. I like Auburn. They're under the radar right now, but they're high enough in that preseason poll to make a significant run. Athletically, the eye candy is there. They're two new coordinators. If they can get it going early, Tony Franklin on offense, Paul Rhodes on defense, both good coaches. If they get it going, Auburn's a team that's going to be tough to beat.
It's Daniel Evans, the backup quarterback tonight. A graduate from Raleigh. His dad, Johnny, a quarterback and a punter at NC State. He's still involved in the program as the radio analyst for NC State. Daniel, he started 6 games last year. He was 4-2 as a starter, beaten out by Russell Wilson.
You know, we're in a situation in college football now with these open offenses and quarterbacks taking more and more shots, being asked to carry the football. We saw it last year. Oregon is maybe 2.5 quarters away from playing for the national championship. Dennis Dixon goes down, and you're done. Now you got to have another quarterback. So these schools have to have 2, maybe even 3 quarterbacks, Jesse, that can handle it.
An ovation from fans of the Gamecocks and the Wolfpack. As Wilson is put on the stretcher, and they'll load him on that cart. Often it's precautionary to immobilize him like that. You can see they've got tape around the helmet and pads on both sides of the head. Erin Andrews will do her best to get as much information for you about Wilson's condition just as soon as she can. This is certainly a good sign. He's able to move his arms and give a little bit of a thumbs up, you can see, with his left thumb.
That's great to see.
Erin's been on the field watching this unfold. Erin?
Chris, obviously the thumbs up a good sign, because at this point we had heard on the sidelines moving his feet but not his arms, so that is a great sign. At this point we're trying to find out where his mom and sister are. Obviously they'll probably be taken back and let you know when we hear anything.
Yeah, thank you. So a Wolfpack team that has played pretty well in a hostile environment now has to regroup and come together. And O'Brien talking to his team as Evans will take over this offense.
And unfair as it is, this team is not, this is nothing new in terms of injuries. This is nothing that they have not experienced. Last year they had 13 players miss 44 games. This team has had to deal with injuries this year. They're going to have to do it again now, losing their starting quarterback here in the second quarter.
You could see there was more signs of Wilson moving his hands as he's being loaded in the cart.
Really good.
This is a team also, guys, that didn't really come together all that well in the first season for O'Brien. These are Chuck Amato's recruits, almost all of them, and cohesiveness. This is not what they were known for. This is something that they're going to have to come together around, the injury to their starting quarterback.
But they put together a nice winning streak last year. You could see the light bulb starting to come on for this team. I mean, again, I'm a big Tom O'Brien fan. The guy's a proven winner. He's done it before. He will get this program on track.
So Evans, who had the series earlier, now goes back in on 2nd and 11. And right away fires incomplete. It was behind T.J. Graham. Or check it, that was Jarvis Williams, number 5, the intended receiver. It'll set up 3rd and 11.
I think one thing Tom O'Brien wants to see from his football team is how they react when they're faced with adversity. Said last year in the first 6 games they got faced with it. They didn't handle it so well. They did better the second half of the season. Well, they're going to get a kickoff right away here at the start of the year, losing their starting quarterback early. How did they react?
2 down territory here. Get you 5 or 6 yards. Give yourself a manageable 4th down play.
And there is a short completion. Oh, when Spencer makes the catch, it's going to set up about a 4th and 7. Stoney Woodson on the stop. You'd go for it here on 4th and 7?
Yeah, if you're a little bit closer, if you get the 4th and the 5, I'd do it. But getting points on the board, that's probably the right range, right distance.
I think points on the board is the most important thing, but also considering they've been dominating the field position battle so far this game. Even if they miss this, South Carolina's still right where they've started the entire
That's
game.
the first college attempt for Josh Schakowsky, the sophomore. And it's going to be 49 yards. going to have enough leg. After the missed field goal, first down play for Tommy Beecher in the Gamecock offense as he tries to shake off 3 first-half picks. That's McKinley in motion. Near side throw to Kenny. Half dozen catches already, but he's not going far. There will be a flag on the face mask. Nate Irving, who made that acrobatic pick earlier, got the face mask.
Well, Irving's a very smart guy, very physical, obviously guy that runs around. Got to be smarter with the hand.
He's the guy that brings the nastiness, say his teammates, but this is the illegal kind of nasty.
And there are no more 5-yard face mask penalties in college football.
That wouldn't have been one anyway.
I don't think so. I think there he grabs and twists, and that will get 15 yards every time. Big break for South Carolina, finally now moving closer to midfield.
And they bring in a new tailback. It's the sophomore Brian Maddox. Play action. Beecher quickly takes off. And he dodges a big hit. That was Nate Irving, Mr. Nasty, headhunting. 8-yard gain. Let's check with Aaron.
Chris, not much news other they're saying it is a concussion Russell Wilson has, and they're taking him immediately to the hospital for further tests.
Aaron, thank you. There's another look at the play that knocked out the freshman, and again the thumbs up as he's taken off. After Beecher's run, it's 2nd and 2. It's Maddox next to him. Pressure immediately. Beecher. Good job to get away and a low throw. Catch made. Deion LaCorn went down and got it for a first down inside the 35.
Well, the defensive line now back-to-back has changed up their look. This time you're going to see the nose and the inside of the play here. He's going to back out of there. Little fire zone, and they gave Beecher a different look and kind of confused him. See there? So they're trying to show him a different look. Made him run.
And ironically enough, while Beecher hasn't been tremendously accurate throwing the football, he's been very good all game so far with his feet.
There was an overrule. They called it initially complete. Then another official came in very late and ruled incomplete. So no catch. Steve wants to call a timeout. It's 3rd and 2. And the play clock was running down.
Timeout on the field.
You got to be ready. Ready to run. After that incompletion, the new clock rolls in effect. So will somebody get on the board before halftime? 3rd and short when we come back.
Joey Montoya, Goldwater Scholar.
Sierra Carter, Fulbright Scholar. Esma Jabber, Truman Scholar.
George Rodden, Heisman Trophy winner.
What is this place called NC State? This is the Autobahn of ideas, the training wheels for the fast track, a think tank the size of a small ocean. This is where higher learning becomes H-I-R-E learning. This is where your hands get dirty in the real world and the innovations clean house, where even the minors are major and the motorboards are all size XXL. Welcome to the Autobahn of innovation, the on-ramp of better thinking, the gateway to an amazing future.
And the Gamecocks convert on 3rd and short. Mike Davis, tailback in the I formation, and they'll throw. Batted down at the line, incomplete. Once again, pressure was Willie Young and Alan Michael Cash, and now it's 4th down.
And Patrick DeMarco was wide open in the flat. If Beecher could just get this ball over the outstretched hands of Willie Young, that is a first down, and he might be running up the sideline still. That was there to be had.
You've heard that saying about if.
That's right.
You know,
doesn't always
sometimes.
Spurrier went for it at his own 37. Is now going to punt with the ball at the Wolfpack 45.
Yeah, pretty smart, though. 2 minutes, they give him a chance to run down here a couple plays, and they shot at a field goal. I'd punt it, too.
And Spencer Lanning will try to pin him deep. Well, almost a good job covering it. It was Captain Munnerlyn trying to make a sliding catch on the 1-yard line, and we'll have a conference down there. Touchback. Good effort, but he couldn't quite control the ball and keep himself out of the end zone. So NC State will start at the 20 with 1:49 to play. Well, this Sunday, it's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, Pepsi 500, California on ESPN. Coverage begins NASCAR Countdown at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So we'll see how conservative Coach O'Brien is with Daniel Evans, a quarterback here. Is he going to be happy to get to the halftime scoreless?
He'd had 8 straight running plays. Evans comes in, and the first play is a pass. You know, I don't think that he's going to go conservative on us.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay. It's Andre Brown, and a low snap gets away. South Carolina football. Eric Norwood is a takeaway machine there to pounce on the awful snap. Maybe they should have played a more conservative. Get up under center.
Ball goes in the air. He got a chance of mistakes, I guess.
Oh, my goodness. Norwood, the man who was a down lineman shifting back to linebacker. He goes 267, but very quick. Pouncing on that football.
Trying to look to see the number of the center who's in there right now. That's Ted Larson, 58. That's that former defensive lineman.
Tom O'Brien said he had to cross his fingers. When you play a defensive lineman at center, he'd just be worried about getting the quarterback center exchange, and it bit NC State right there.
NC State will take a timeout on defense now. Wow, that was a horrendous snap. I mean, Evans was trying to make the kick save there along the ground as the ball was rolling to his left. Well, the Gamecocks get set up on offense, so a chance to preview what's coming up at halftime, and let's go back to Reese.
All right, Chris, ahead on the Pontiac G6 halftime report. Lou Holtz, Mark May here alongside. Things are going much better offensively for some other ACC teams, and it is the debut of Ask Dr. Lou at halftime.
Dr. who?
Dr. Who?
Dr. Lou.
You're going to dole out some advice at the college.
If you want advice, it's going to cost you. Doctor in charge.
I just don't know if the HMO will cover it or not. Ask Dr. Lou starting at halftime. Get you up to date on everything else going on in sports, and also take you around a very busy Thursday night. They're underway, Stanford and Oregon State right now. Get you caught up on everything, Chris, coming up in just a bit.
Dr. Lou, I like it. I'd like to ask Dr. Lou if he still thinks the Gamecocks can win the SEC after this first half. On first down, there's a stutter step and now a hammer straight ahead. Nate Irving there on the stop against Davis.
Mike Davis for Carolina.
Mike Davis, if there's a specialty area for him on the field, it's the red zone. The guy just finds a way to go forward in that red zone and get for the pay dirt.
Steve Spurrier told us he smells the end zone. He's got that innate ability just to find it. He finds seams. Let's see if South Carolina can take advantage of this turnover, get some points on the board before going in.
There's a second down throw. Beecher looking long for the end zone, way overthrown. McKinley pretty well covered anyway.
Isn't that one of those throws where you're like, you've thrown 3 picks in the first half, you're like, dude, I know we need 3-point shot at least. Do not take a chance.
The worst thing I think for a quarterback, though, is to start playing defensively. Here you throw 3 interceptions so far. You start worrying about if you're going to get pulled. As a quarterback, you have to be able to play with total confidence, pull the trigger, 100% conviction.
3rd and 8. They bring pressure. And they've got Beecher. Shane McKean on the stop, and there's a little bit of grumbling from the Gamecock faithful here. I don't know if you call it boos, but some unrest.
Well, and you know what? The Boo Birds are out a little bit, but being smart in this game, Steve Spurrier recognizes what's going on. He's playing against now the second-team quarterback. He's at home. He's wanting to get points on the board going to halftime.
Okay, then why on 4th down is he passing on the field goal?
I think it's the clock management. He's just running it down.
Yeah, Ryan Suckup, the field goal kicker, number 14, is standing on the sideline with his helmet on, and he's almost automatic inside of 40 yards. In his career, 16 of 17 from this range. So you like your chances to get 3 on the board. He's a Groza semifinalist a year ago.
I think considering the way the game has gone so far for South Carolina, they've been losing the field position battle. They've been turning the football over. Just to get 3 points right now, going at halftime, hopefully with the lead, I think considering the way this first half has gone, is a big plus for South Carolina.
That's a mild moral victory. I don't want to call it a big plus. It hasn't been a good first half for the head ball coach. Saturday storyline, what will Rodriguez's offense look like against Utah?
Well, did you see that face right there? Who the heck's running my offense? I have no Chase Daniel.
Missouri's got an offense.
They do. So does Clemson. They can run the football. It's going to be a good ball game. You'll be down there game day.
Anxious to see some of Saban's true freshmen, Julio Jones playing for Alabama and Appalachian State. They go to Baton Rouge. Can they possibly?
They've already won.
They cannot creep up on anybody this year. After what happened last year, believe LSU's ready.
But they've won by getting all the attention and exposure again that they got last year.
That LSU team a little bit faster than last year's Michigan team.
Beecher is the holder for Succop, the leader in career field goal percentage of South Carolina. This is just 29 yards, and now O'Brien will spend a timeout. Icing the kicker on a 29-yarder at the end of the first half. Okay. Well, Jesse, I'm curious from your experiences with the head ball coach, what you think he might say to Beecher and to the team. This is not the kind of start that they wanted to have. Not a team that came into this year riding a big wave. They'd lost their last 5 a year ago.
Well, I think this is something where Coach Spurrier is going to go in at halftime here. He's going to regroup with his guys, and I think we talked about this. He seems a lot calmer today than maybe when he was back at Florida. This might be a different approach he takes in at halftime here. Settle the guys down, get Tommy Beecher, regroup, get Coach Spurrier Jr. talking to him, try to calm the nerves down and come out in the second half and be a lot more productive.
I tell you what he needs to do is throw the visor at the offensive line. Seriously, this offensive line's done nothing, and for Tom O'Brien, he's going to go in and tell his guys, you guys have done a pretty good job. We need to convert, but we're on the road doing pretty darn well.
You can see if Succop can break the scoreless tie. With a name like that, you've got to be good. And he's very solid. Finally, the scoreless tie is broken. That wasn't what they had in mind after the fumble recovery, but they settled for 3, and O'Brien's underdogs are hanging around, and only took 29-40 to get on the board here.
But you know what, you were talking about not playing scared as a quarterback, and the same thing happens for a coach. So here's Tom O'Brien, and I know he's going to do nothing now in this situation, but he can't be afraid to go back to shotgun with Larson at center. You know, he's got to be able to get back in the gun and just keep with the same play and the same game plan with Daniel Evans in there as he had with Russell Wilson.
He's going to need all of those elements offensively if he wants to win this football game. But I'll say this. I think Tom O'Brien, if you look at his offense right now, with the exception of that last fumbled exchange, he's checking off the boxes right now. His offense is running the ball well. The defense has been stout against the run. They're winning the turnover battle. These are things that he said they had to get better at from a year ago to be successful. And for everything that's happened, being down 3-0 on the road in the first game at halftime, not the worst case scenario.
They're winning the turnover battle because they've gotten 3 picks, but they're still turning the ball over on offense.
You know what, though?
Haven't exactly been mistake-free.
But in our
we don't
game,
take it.
In our preparation, though, hey, we were all kind of looking and thinking South Carolina might come out here and put a little thump on them.
Yeah.
So at this point here, NC State, they probably believed in themselves, but not a lot of other folks did.
See if Succop just kind of gives it the boot along the ground here with 20 seconds to play before halftime. Andre Brown is the deep returner. And they'll give Brown a chance. Well, this is not what Tommy Beecher had in mind. He's waited a long time for this opportunity to be the man. He came in last year, split time against a couple of cupcakes, frankly, but it's been rough, Jess.
It just looks like he's had a hard time trusting the area he wants to throw the football in. He hasn't done a good job looking players off, and he just has been uncomfortable back behind center. He's been flustered. He hasn't played within the system.
He's book smart. He's the #1 GPA guy on the team. Actuarial mathematics major, but football smarts hasn't quite been there where he wants it to be in the first half. Evans takes a knee. The Wolfpack will regroup after losing their starting quarterback Russell Wilson. And let's visit with Tom O'Brien and Aaron Andrews.
Thanks, Chris. Coach, what's the latest you've heard about Russell Wilson's injury?
All I know he's at the hospital for evaluation. That's all I know.
After he was taken off the field, what did you say to your guys?
We still had to play football. He was in God's hands and he's in medical hands. They'll do the best they can, and we have to play football.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Chris.
O'Brien's defense doing a good job. Spurrier's offense just 2 for 9 on 3rd down in front of a packed house and high expectations here. It's just 3-zip at halftime. Let's go to Reese for the Pontiac G6 halftime report.
We got problems.
It's very original.
It's been great. You've gotten grief before for that. Hey, it's a thorny first half for both offenses. Excuse me.
I appreciate it.
Nowhere to go but up for both offenses. And NC State minus Russell Wilson at quarterback will get the ball to start this second half.
I think Schwamby's given us some cutaways of some candidates for the Bachelor.
You knew we couldn't let that go, Jessica.
Hey, I've been waiting. I mean, we're already in the 3rd quarter. What's up with you guys?
Oh, got a bit of hesitation, and now Andre Brown will bring it out. And he's running east and west, and he's going to be stopped inside the 15. Bad field position for Daniel Evans. Home Depot coaching adjustments, Pony?
Well, you said east and west. That's kind of a theme here in the first half. You can't get any momentum here. 4 in the box. You've got to get some push. South Carolina's offensive line. Now, Mike Archer said he had a very underrated, underappreciated line. Look at the ball carrier. 3 guys around the ball carrier making the tackle. Mike Davis is a talented, gifted back that can run, but you've got to give him a way to get beyond the original line of scrimmage.
It's Brown next to Evans, and Brown has it. Check in with Aaron Andrews on the sidelines, who had a word with the old help ball coach.
Yeah, I don't have a rose for Jess, but I do have some classic Steve Spurrier that I know he'll enjoy. I said, hey, Coach, what's wrong with Tommy Beecher? And he ruffled his hair and he said, I don't have an answer for that. He said, he's practiced a lot better than he's played tonight. He needs more help around him. And I said, are you going to stick with him in the second half? And he said, for now.
He's our guy for now. On 2nd and 8, Evans. Intercepted. Picked off. Carlos Thomas inside the 10-yard line. And it's the Wolfpack quarterback's turn to make a mistake. Each team with 3 turnovers now.
It's a great job by Carlos Thomas reading the eyes of Daniel Evans and jumping in front of a little redirect route underneath. Very opportunistic by this defense right here. You're going to see Daniel Evans just drop back. He's trying to throw a little out route, but he doesn't anticipate the corner jumping in front. Carlos Thomas there to make the big interception.
I always like to see a smart, soft cover 2 over there. Guy maybe over there, he just falls into the play, reads it, and does a nice job.
So it's 1st and goal. Beecher hands it off to Taylor Rank, who busts down to the 5-yard line. I think Steve would love it if they could just muscle the ball in here and not have to rely on Beecher's throwing.
They need 7 points out of this possession. And the last 2 drives now, NC State has given South Carolina the football deep in their own end. These are the places where you have to capitalize and get 7 points.
This is a great setup for the offensive line. You know they were talked to at halftime. This is where they can set the tempo for the second half.
It's Rank. Not much room. They'll just try to lean forward for a yard. It'll be 3rd and 4. Ray Michael, the middle backer, filling for O'Brien's defense.
Boy, how about Tom O'Brien? Comes out of the halftime, and he said he wanted to do 2 things this week, be intense and create turnovers. He did both of those in the first half. And here's the guy comes out, and his quarterback throws a pick first snap.
It's not the defense's fault so far for NC State. They're playing a great game, but they got to take better care of the football because they're giving South Carolina a chance and giving them points.
What's your call here on 3rd and 3?
Run the football.
Run it?
I think they're going to run the football.
That means then you got to run it twice, perhaps.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I think he's prepared to do that.
Okay.
2 tight ends for the Gamecocks. Oh, some miscommunication. Rank leaning toward the goal line. Didn't get there. Looked like an awkward handoff in the backfield. Rank got it, Craig, but that blew his momentum.
Just that little offbeat takes you out of it. You know, and here comes Mike Davis in the game. Mike Davis is a red zone specialist. Why he didn't get the ball before that, I'll never know.
Well, that was an audible by Tommy Beecher at the line of scrimmage. He audible to a run play. They may have had a pass on, but he saw something where he wanted to get the run going. Here we are now, big 4th and goal.
Now they're 2 for 2 on 4th down. Both times quarterback sneaks. Davis is in the game. He's got it. Diving to the end zone. He starts the game in the doghouse, works his way to the end zone. And this time the Gamecocks make the Wolfpack pay for the turnover.
It's one of the first times I think we've seen the South Carolina offensive line really impose their will. 3 straight plays, they run inside. Now what do? Toss sweep outside to Mike Davis. Craig, you just talked about how he can smell that end zone.
Patrick DeMarco, the fullback.
No penetration there, was there,
Yeah.
Chris? You know what? That's what happens when the running back gets a little running lane.
Suckup. As to make it a double-digit lead. And now the task gets taller for Daniel Evans, who started the game as the backup, but now in the last couple possessions they've turned it over on their own 12 and their own 9. TJ Graham, the true freshman, back to receive the kickoff of Suckup. Graham, who had a drop earlier in the game, takes a knee. Brent Musburger has a preview of another ACC versus SEC battle on Saturday.
The 9th-ranked Clemson Tigers begin their title race in Atlanta, led by the powerful duo of C.J. Spiller and James Davis. In Nick Saban's second year at the helm, Alabama looks to spoil Clemson's season early and make a statement to the SEC. Alabama-Clemson at the Georgia Dome. ESPN College Football Saturday at 8 Eastern on ABC.
2 great fan bases meeting in the melting pot of Atlanta. A little bit more on the line for Clemson, wouldn't you say? The favorites in the ACC.
Absolutely. Got a lot of young guys at Alabama. Clemson expected to win.
This is Brown, the safe handoff, but no gain. Now Dana Bible really has to wonder, Jesse, what's he going to do with this offense? A backup quarterback at this point.
Well, the bad news is they've given away the football now on 2 consecutive possessions inside their 15-yard line. The good news is they're only down 10-0, so they don't have to abandon the game plan yet. They've been running the football well so far. They can continue to do that still.
So offense really lacking in weapons with guys like Jamel Eugene out with an ankle. Donald Bowens, who was their top returning receiver, he's lost for the season with a fractured bone in his lower back.
They just need to make improvement. Last year they had 33 bad plays per game. You know, you see what happens when you have bad plays and the injuries you're talking about when you don't have the big play threat to come make up for a bad play.
Here comes the noise on 3rd and 5. Evans under pressure, throws a little dart, complete for a first down. There's their freshman Graham, a nice catch in traffic.
Boy, no question about that. Now he goes from being a track guy. Early in the game, missed one. That's a football player there, and a heck of a job of Evans at the last minute getting rid of it.
Cliff Matthews is right in his back when he threw. So a crucial conversion early in this 3rd quarter to keep the drive alive. Back at the 35 now. Brown hurdles a man to get the corner and skips out after an 8-yard gain. Shows some niftiness for 228 pounds, Craig.
Yes, he does.
How about the athleticism here, Andre Brown? 228 pounds. I could have swore he was go down and bang heads.
I give you a little hint. You'll appreciate this, Jesse. It's amazing what the body does when it doesn't want to get hurt.
You gain some vertical inches, and then
all of a sudden you're a same bolt.
70 for Brown and 15 carries. Evans will throw on 2nd and shorter. Try to, but he can't get away. Dead ball, no fumble, but once again, instant pressure. It was Byron McKnight. Now the backup defensive ends for the Gamecocks getting in on the action.
You know, Anthony Hill, 83, left side, experienced player. 83 just gets confused. Here he is. You let big folks go by you. That's terrible blocking.
Yeah, he's rusty. He missed a whole year, but no excuse for that kind of mental mistake.
Well, that looked like he didn't know who to block. It looked like he knew what his assignment was at all in that play.
This is just an offense that has such a hard time overcoming those negative plays you're talking about because they don't have a lot of explosiveness. And before this 3rd and 12 play. We'll take a timeout. Fans feel a little bit better about themselves after the touchdown from Mike Davis on that 4th down run following the interception. Gamecocks offense has been woeful, but the defense has set them up. On 3rd and 12, Evans just throws it away. Once again, there was strong pressure. Eric Norwood came on the blitz. Frustrating night for Tom O'Brien's offense. This is a guy whose entire life has been about discipline. Graduate of the Naval Academy, a Marine for 9 years. Prizes nothing more than being sound and not beating yourself. And the mistakes, even though it's an opener, have to be eating at him.
Well, he talked at great length about having everybody in the program buy in, you know, and they're not there yet. You know, he had a couple of examples. One, their running back, Jamel Eugene, who's not even playing tonight.
Yeah, he was a guy who was a leader, who had bought in, who was kind of gung-ho, but again, left home in Raleigh with the ankle injury. A low boot from Pearson, and Munnerlyn gets through the first wall. Captain Munnerlyn into NC State territory. And he's the best covering guy. He's a future NFL prospect at corner. Plays bigger than 5'9". They usually don't throw much to him, but a chance to make a play as a punt returner. And now that Wolfpack defense, guys, that's played so well, backed up after the 16-yard return, really can't afford to fall farther behind if you're the Pack at this point. Would you agree?
And you get to a point here also, you got to move your defensive line around. You have to create a turnover, and you get great field position for your offense that cannot move the ball right now.
This is Davis. Makes a little sidestep to avoid the first tackler, but Michael there to clean it up. No gain.
Yeah, but don't you know that this is where leadership comes in, the defensive huddle. If you're NC State, Jesse, somebody's got to step up over there and say, hey, fellas, we got to get the ball back to the offense here at midfield.
And I think that's the difference this year. I think this defense feels like they have some leaders on that side that this year can face adversity, step up, rally the guys around them to make a play. We'll see if they can get it done now.
Again pressured. He's been looking to run very quickly. I don't know if he didn't trust the guys up front. Maybe that's smart. But
would you? Tonight, would you?
No.
Well, and again, we're talking about NC State. How about South Carolina? What about their offensive line? Having somebody on the ropes and wanting to knock them out, you got to feel that and sense it.
Those NC State tackles, Alan Michael Cash and Antoine Holmes right now are having their way inside, really making it uncomfortable for Tommy Beecher, even just to stay on rhythm and get the football downfield.
He's been sacked 4 times now. 3rd and 12. So short pass and busting into the open field is Davis. That's been their best play down to the 32. They've used it twice.
That's been their best play so far throwing the football. They've now converted 2 3rd and longs on this little middle screen to Mike Davis. He does such a nice job just in space, Craig. Once he's got the ball in his hands of moving forward and getting positive yards.
Yeah, we're the linebackers. Linebackers are just absolutely confused, and the offensive line, give them a hand. They've matched up, body on body, got a fit. Nobody could hit Davis and let him run.
So first time you've applauded him all night.
I did. They earned it.
First down throw for Beecher. Takes a shot. Downfield. Looking for LaCour. He just threw a jump ball. He got lucky that DeAndre Morgan didn't pick that one off.
No, I like the play call from Steve Spurrier or Steve Spurrier Jr. here on that. You know, you got to continue to establish that and throw the football downfield.
Yeah, there was a flag, and it's kind of in the holding zone, isn't it?
Holding. Number 57, offense. 10 yards. Replay the down.
Jean-Pierre, the guard.
Yeah, they can't handle verbals, accolades. One play good, the next play they go back to the bucket.
Well, you do expect the offensive line to improve a lot, right, from the first game to the second game. Isn't that the old cliche? They better hope so, because Vanderbilt's no pushover next week, and then it's the Bulldogs coming in here. First and 20. Spread the field. And this time Beecher has pretty good protection, takes a shot downfield, but there's no receiver there, and it's interception number 4. This is Morgan. DeAndre Morgan. Clobbered at the 22. Davis, the tailback, came back with the tackle. Beecher and there's a flag at the point of the tackle. Beecher picked off for a 4th time. And there's another brain cramp.
Well, it's just Tommy Beecher trying to make a play, and I really thought on this play he really let the football go into the area he was supposed to. It didn't look at all that time like the receiver was where he was supposed to be.
And when I hear that, you know, from my side of it, I think of a guy just throwing the ball to a spot on the field. You know, rather than to a receiver, just throwing it up to the head.
That's what it is, and that's the difficult part about it.
That's a post-interception foul. It's an illegal block in the back against NC State, but they will keep the football.
During the return, they had a block in the back. Number 98 of the return team. First down.
And again, it's just as much on the receivers to be where they're supposed to be when the quarterback lets the ball go. And you see Mo Brown running the post route. Tommy Beecher is told to throw the football right down the middle of the field to an area. And if Mo Brown doesn't get there, that's not on Tommy Beecher.
You sure? Really? I defer to you there.
No, I'm telling you. Now,
that guy wasn't open, though. I mean, that safety was back there.
The decision is a completely different thing. But if the quarterback's thrown to an area, the receiver's got to be there.
No, they're talking to Mo Brown, so he must be right this time.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. I think if you were playing for Spurrier, the collar just got a leash.
It's Brown in there. And Andre Brown is having a good night. Really making the most, and they've needed someone to step up with Jamel Eugene out. The senior from Greenville, North Carolina, has had a solid night.
Which we did not know. You know what? Jamel Eugene was the guy that they were really counting on to come in this game and be a leader for them on the field, as well as productive on the field. So, you know, O'Brien's got a lot of moving parts he's still dealing with.
You know, I'm really impressed with Andre Brown and just how physical he's running right now. He's really imposing his presence on a very, very physical South Carolina defense. He's wearing them down.
He's a guy that came off a broken foot a year ago. 83 yards rushing. There's Brown again. Meanwhile, we have an update on the condition of Russell Wilson. Let's go to Aaron.
Well, Chris, news just keeps coming in. At first, they were saying it was a grade 3 concussion, and now better news from the hospital. They're saying he seems to be doing fine, you know, seeing how bad that hit was that he took on his head. They said he's responsive. Everything's, you know, his limbs, everything's good, and the concussion may not be as bad as they expected. And as you mentioned, everything this family has gone through with his father and the stroke, that's great news.
It is indeed, Aaron. Good news, and appreciate the hustle there. Everybody watching this game, especially those involved with the NC State football family, certainly relieved to hear that the injury doesn't appear to be more serious than a concussion for Wilson. 3rd down, meanwhile, for Evans. 3rd and 4. Incomplete. Munnerlyn got there. Good job to break it up. Throw was behind the receiver.
You saw Daniel Evans there backing up as he threw the football. He never threw it with a lot of conviction. He was peeling backwards, and that makes the ball sail on you a little bit. Captain Munnerlyn, without question, the best cover corner in South Carolina. And that's an easy breakup for this All-SEC performance.
Working against Jay Smith, the freshman, and Pearson. Punt number 4. Munnerlyn, who just broke the pass up, is now the returner. And it's the best punt of the night for Pearson. But he may have outkicked the coverage. And Captain spurts over the 35-yard line. So, inside of 6 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, Gamecocks protecting a 10-point lead. See, when O'Brien was it, then he beat Florida State in the Thursday night.
But I'm looking at my board trying to find a player that's going to make the play for him. I can't come up with one.
Other than Brown, and he can't go deep. Practice pops. He'll lose yardage on 2nd down. Nate Irving, active night for the sophomore.
He's good. Nate Irving reads and comes from the backside as good as any linebacker I've seen.
Coach Mike Archer talked about he thinks he can be real special, and he's very aggressive. He's one of those instinctual guys that just finds the football and he attacks. He gets his head downhill.
Instinctual. Instinctual.
Instinctive.
Well, I'm Canadian. I know you're Canadian. I'm from Texas. I'm a long ways from you. I'm just trying to get the words right.
Somebody translate. 3rd and 9. Beecher. Oh, Still firing. He's got his man. That's Freddie Brown, the junior, inside the 45.
I think this is what South Carolina has to get into. They got to run the football and keep these third downs manageable to give Tommy Beecher a chance. You see Freddie Brown just do a nice job sitting down in the zone and a really nicely thrown ball.
Trips to the right side, and, you know, it's a big open spot in front of the quarterback so he can see it.
Trying to think of a quarterback in a Spurrier offense, Jesse. Has he ever thrown 4 picks and stayed in the game? Is this uncharted territory for the ball coach?
This must be the first time.
This is ranked, solid, consistent, sure-handed, which is important in a night like this. It's about 5.
You know, we're in one of these just back and forth deals here. EA, what's going on over at NC State? Is the bench, is there like any thought that they might have a chance to come back?
You know, throughout this game, even before Russell Wilson was injured, this has been a very quiet bench on both sides, offense and defense. You know, they're not getting after each other. The coaches aren't screaming with them. It's almost like classes in session. They're just learning the lessons, and that's a lot about what these coaches told us. I mean, they're going to learn as they play this game.
There's less hollering than there was under Coach Amato. A different personality to the staff, for sure. Beecher still got it. Now a little sideline route is complete to Cook, and the tight end dives out of bounds at the first down marker at the 36.
Now that's a throw, that's a play that Steve Spurrier has probably seen from this young man in the two-a-days, and it's why he started.
It just feels comfortable letting him go out and run those plays. And again, you know, while Tommy Beecher has thrown 4 interceptions, when he's been running around, he has been pretty creative, and he's been able to find guys downfield.
Yeah, just the awareness that he knows when he comes back from that fake and that boot that somebody could be in his face, and to expect it is what allowed him to make the move.
He's found guys. Sometimes they're the guys on the other side, but he's been finding people out there tonight. No measure for this.
Going back to what you said.
It takes a lot, though, to 4 picks to
4 picks, he's not yet cold. If this doesn't prove Steve Spurrier's changed a little bit, and I don't know what will. He's obviously gotten a lot more confident in his guys and a lot more patient as well.
Even in our meetings with him, he wants to show you pictures of his grandkids and his family that's behind his desk. You know, talking about the 5-game losing streak last year. You know, well, you know, didn't want to get deep into it, but he didn't rant and rave.
No, he's melting a bit.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So have you and I, too, by the way.
That's another story. Davis is back in on first down. Play action. Beecher once again. I thought he was going to take off. Maybe he should have. Now he'll be dropped. Sacked one more time. The 6th sack for the Pack.
Tommy Beecher's done such a good job all game of when the pocket's broken down, he's been able to get forward and really avoid negative plays. This time a little too indecisive.
Well, but I think what this will do is their next opponent and future opponents will see his ability to move in the pocket, and that's going to add a twist to what they have to do in terms of maybe even spying it.
Do they need to do something different, though, Jesse, and get guys coming open earlier? Because obviously they're having trouble.
Well, they have to go back to the drawing board. They have to go back to the practice field, and they got to start throwing balls into the areas and just get his confidence up to the fact where he knows his receivers are going to be in the area when he lets the football go.
And it's DeAndre Morgan, the sophomore corner who made the pick earlier in the quarter. They're looking at a leg there, maybe just a cramp. It's a warm, humid evening.
Very humid.
Well, DeAndre should be used to it. He's from Riviera Beach. It'll be 2nd and 14 after the sack. This Sunday, you guys into NASCAR, the Sprint Cup Series Pepsi 500 at California on ESPN. NASCAR Countdown begins it at 7 o'clock, and then the race in prime time. Still tending to Morgan's leg, and they'll help him up.
DeAndre Morgan's done an outstanding job all game long, blanketing a lot of these South Carolina receivers. That's not necessarily a guy that NC State wants to lose right now on defense.
You know, coaches, it's true they do learn a whole lot after game 1. about their ball clubs. And I think you really learn a lot about them and their personalities and what they did in the fourth quarter of game one and how they handle it, whether they're ahead or behind. For Tom O'Brien, I know he's looking for guys that are out there flying around.
I think that's a commonality that we have between both these teams, though. I don't know if either of these teams came into tonight's game knowing how they'd handle adversity. I think the game is going to, it looks like right now this game could end up giving both these teams a chance to deal with that.
Keep an eye on Morgan, number 21. Appears to be that left knee that he was favoring as he came off. And he just kind of came up, not much contact there with McKinley. And Coyle George, who was a wide receiver a year ago, playing his first game at corner, number 33 for the Wolfpack. He now replaces Morgan.
In the old days, the ball coach would go right at him right now, wouldn't he?
2nd and 14. Beecher misses. Cook. Adam overled him.
Jesse, in the old days, if you saw it, number 2 come in, a former wide receiver early in the season, would you have gone at him early?
No question. You know, it's funny. I remember at Florida, we had a lot of 3 and 4 and 5 play scoring drives. And it seems like that's in South Carolina. They haven't really been able to have that kind of success. And we talked about this throughout the week. Whether do they not have a guy that's able to go down and get the ball? And, or
I don't see any Jacquez Green, the Reedell Anthony, or Ike Hilliard on the field tonight.
Right, that's right.
I mean, Kenny McKinley's a nice receiver, but
there's only one of them.
Beecher, he'll run. He's going to lower his head as he tried to get the first down, and he didn't get it, but he did get punished at the 29. J.C. Neal and Robbie Leonard. It's been a tough night for quarterbacks. He was not bashful about lowering his own headgear.
Tell you what he did do, though. He did give Ryan Suckup a chance to kick a field goal on this. He was able to put the team in field goal range. A lot of guts from Tommy Beecher.
That's a respect maker there. That's where your teammates really appreciate you and giving it up the body.
That's where leaders can become born.
Matt O'Brien did it for Tom O'Brien a couple of years ago. Remember that? Got blown up one time?
Suckup, who's 1 for 1. And try it from 46. And he drills it right through. So the preseason awards candidate at kicker for South Carolina, perfect on the night, and the hustle and the guts of the quarterback there creates the chance for 3. Good call, Jesse.
What Lou Holtz called him? How do you pronounce his name at halftime? Coach Holtz, Suckup. Suckup does a good job.
I think he wishes it were said that way. It's just not. 13-0, still a 2-score game if NC State can find a way to make a play.
Now, Tommy Beecher's hurt this NC State defense with his legs. He's been creative. When the pockets collapse, he hasn't had anything downfield. Instead of forcing throws, he's just been running. And look at this now. You see Steve Spurrier talking to Chris Smelley here on the sidelines. Wondering if Tommy Beecher, he might have gotten dinged up a little bit on that hit.
Yeah, so he showed guts and he paid the price. And there's Smelley, the sophomore. He started 6 games a year ago. Most felt that it was going to be Smelley or Steven Garcia, who's had some suspension problems, the very talented sophomore who would beat out Beecher.
Oh, I think right now Steve Spurrier would be pleased if he ends up the game winning here now. And having Beecher, he's experienced a lot of some good, a lot of bad. And then he can get some reps for Smelley. Be a good night for him.
Meantime, some urgency now for the Wolfpack offense with just 1:15 in this third quarter. It's an offense that's managed 114 total yards tonight. Good special teams for the Gamecocks. Another touchback as we check back with Reese Davis. Reese?
Chris, full night on the ESPN family of networks in high def on ESPNU. Vanderbilt still with a 2-touchdown lead on Miami, Ohio. Chris Nixon has accounted for 3 touchdowns. And on ESPN2, Oregon State and Stanford, very entertaining so far. Sammy Stronner just caught a 55-yard touchdown pass from Lyle Moyval to pull the Beavers even with Harbaugh's Cardinal. They're tied at 10 on ESPN2 right now. Stanford, pending review of that catch, perhaps on the move again.
Busy opening night, a whole bunch of games, and we're going to see Oregon State later this season in Corvallis against the mighty Trojans. And, of course, we'll see Vanderbilt a week from tonight at home against the Gamecocks.
Yeah, you know what? Oregon State, that could be a challenge. It will be a challenge for USC. That's why I think it's the right move to get Sanchez on the field as soon as possible to get the seasons going.
You have to, because you need him to get reps with the guys around him. When Ohio State rolls in September 13th and their 20 starters come in, a lot of those guys who played 2 national title games, you need Sanchez ready.
2nd and 7 for Evans. And a whistle. You know, Sanchez, the knee's okay as they visit Charlottesville, but the rust is what I wonder about. He threw a couple of picks in his scrimmage. He's missed 17 days. You see it's a false start against Green, the Wolfpack. You know, 17 days is a long time going into an opener, and Sanchez is not a returning starter. He has started before, but I wonder how he'll play against Virginia.
No, I'm excited to see that as well. And there's also a lot of inexperience on this offense from USC. They need a lot of guys to come together, and they need a lot of guys at the wide receiver position to really step up and make some plays. Fred Davis is gone. He's not around anymore. Those guys need they need to get cohesive together.
I'm smiling just because, you know, I'd give you a rose on that one, buddy. I'm telling you, if you and I had that kind of inexperienced talent, we could coach.
Pretty good.
There's another flag as the ball is snapped, and that's incomplete. Munnerlyn was trying to chase down Graham, the speedy freshman. But again, we'll check the flag.
Well, at least he's showing Graham is that he can get beyond. Now they've got to come up with a connection and finish the play.
You know, around here, USC means the Gamecocks.
That's right. That's right.
The rest of the world, of course, it means the Trojans. Yeah. His penalties are piling up now. This offensive line's had a tough night for NC State.
You know, the issue right now with
illegal formations, not enough men on the line of scrimmage. The penalty is declined.
You know, finishing up that Southern California comment, they have so much talent, Jesse. Watching them in the spring, it was unbelievable how many playmakers waiting to come on and be the next superstar out there. And I think Sanchez really has a chance to be another special quarterback.
I think he has a chance too, but with only 1 game prep time for that Ohio State team, I think they're pretty tough.
And the final play of the 3rd quarter. Wow, almost another interception. Evans threw it into traffic, and Emmanuel Cook giving himself some push-ups. Thought he should have.
He should have. I was going to say, at some point, the wide receivers have to step up and make plays. Gets a flag for it.
Oh, no, that's deemed a celebration. Here we go. This is the rule I've been waiting to see. They're going to crack down on anything they think is mildly offensive. And that's not taunting. That's just saying, my bad, I should have had it. And they called this. They sent a tape out to officials from every conference. They want standardization. And I knew this was going to come up. The crowd here confused as to why that's unsportsmanlike.
Well, it's one of those borderline ones. I know how you are about it. You
think that's a taunting the other side?
How many times do you see a player jump down on the field and do push-ups?
I think he thought the quarter was over. It turns out there's 1 second to go.
Well, maybe go to the sidelines and do your push-ups.
It's going to prolong this drive. It's going to give NC State a first down with this dead ball pound. Then now they will wind it down. And I hate that. They're taking some of the fun out of it. I don't like that rule. 13-zip Gamecocks. Here in Columbia, Brown and Underwood in the game, and this is Brown. Cuts it back. Emmanuel Cook on the stop. I'll tell you what, that penalty, which I think is just a crazy call for unsportsmanlike, prolonging the drive and forcing the Gamecock defense to stay on the field, and that's Cliff Matthews down on the field. The excellent defensive end is that such an active night.
So what does the impact of that really mean? What happens if you lose a guy like Matthews, who had to stay out there?
Looks like he might just be cramping up. No, look, I get it, Craig. If you're going to taunt, if you're going to go crazy, if it's going to be a premeditated, prolonged celebration, throw the flag. But that was not a situation of he did it. I think on the field, thinking the quarter was over, goes down, gives himself push-ups because he thought he should have had the pick.
It drew attention to him.
So what? What's the harm in that?
Well, I guarantee you, Ron Cherry didn't like it, the referee.
And that's what counts. Brown. And Brown getting near 100 yards and near a first down marker. Marvin Sapp on the stop. And this is, again, Cook, after he should have had an interception, kind of punching himself. And that's 15 yards.
I think we're going to see
keep the drive going.
I think we're going to see that all year long. If a player does anything to draw attention upon himself, even if it's not taunting, you're going to see that.
That's a shock down here in the SEC. If you're going to standardize it, maybe call it the way they called it in the Big Ten or some other conferences. This conference, where there's so much emotion, where stuff like that happens a lot, it's going to be an adjustment for these players, no doubt. 3rd and 1. And another bad snap, and Evans has to run it down and fall on it inside the 20. Boy, they cannot execute much of anything tonight.
And you know what? This is an example of a center trying to get the ball back so quickly and get on his job. He just can't quite get there. It's Ted Larson. You know, that's that inexperience there.
It's just a bit outside there.
I know, but you see what he did? He snaps and tries to get in the play real quick. See? He's trying to get foot position on his defensive tackle.
You can take for granted so many things that a guy who played defense this time last year has to get adjusted to playing center. That's one of them right there.
There's 23 yards, and here's Pearson again. Very low kick. Munderland has to let it bounce. And he'll cover it at the 40.
Head injury, and Tommy Beecher on the bench right now for South Carolina. Sophomore Chris Melly will be coming in this series for him. Beecher takes a hit here in the 3rd quarter, guys, and what I'm hearing from the Gamecocks training staff is they're not saying it's a concussion, but they just want him to sit out for a bit. I've been standing here watching him, and he's simply just sitting here with his eyes closed. Gave him some aspirin. He looks like he has a pretty good headache.
Thanks, Aaron. He does look a little cloudy there, and so it is going to be Chris Melly, the sophomore out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And he takes a shot after the whistle. That would have been no play. Jeremy Gray came flying in, again with pressure out of the secondary.
Cross to the snap. Full start. Offense.
Is that 4 or 5? Full starts.
That's the 4th that I can remember.
Yeah. And Gray didn't let up. Again, there had been a whistle. He took a shot against Smelly, who's played some football here. Again, as a backup true freshman to Blake Mitchell in 2006. Played last year. Started 6 games. Won 4 of them. 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And he's getting a chance with Beecher dinged up to protect a 13-point lead. It's Davis on 1st and 15. Mike Davis bangs ahead for about 9 yards as we check in with Reese Davis for Sports Center right now.
Right now, Chris, for the first time since 1967, the #1 seed at the U.S. Open on the women's side is gone. Ana Ivanovic knocked out by Julie Kwon, ranked 188th in the world. It took 3 sets to do so, but the top seed is gone in the 2nd round. Baseball, Yankees still 6 games out of the wild card lead, but they have something to feel good about. Walk-off single from Giambi. He also hit a home run as they beat the Red Sox 3-2. Sports Center after the game.
Well, Reese, thanks. My guy Jesse, Greg, he shares my passion for tennis. Here's Davis spinning for a short gain, and sad to see Ana Ivanovic knocked out of the U.S. Open, aren't you?
It is sad to see Ana Ivanovic knocked out. You know, after she won the French Open, she went into Wimbledon, which she lose in the 3rd round. I was out there. I was listening to you out there just north of London here this past summer.
Well, yeah, like I can only think of Billie Jean King or something.
You a tennis guy, Greg?
I used to play a lot of tennis. I do love tennis. I'm not telling you. I'm sitting around watching Fowler do Wimbledon.
Ana's the kind of player that Jesse would give a rose to.
Wow,
so.
wow.
You got a strong fan club around the world.
Wow. I'm just getting to know Palmer. I got to figure out his style.
He'd have to get in line, by the way.
I'm not sure what his like.
A milder diagnosis and a big relief for a family that's been through a lot in recent months. It's 3rd and 5 here. It's Chris Smelly in his first series taking over for the dinged-up Beecher. Tries to prolong this drive and chew some more clock. You guys have both been there, right? You've been in Beecher's position, a little partly cloudy on the bench.
Well, I just a little bit ahead of Jesse. Whenever I got a headache like that, they put you back in the game after you got your aspirin.
Okay.
Huh? That was one of those deals, you know. I got a headache, Coach.
And look what it's done for you all these years later. Staying there.
Nowadays, it's medical. They put you on you quarterbacks, man.
Hey, you just got to take it easy with us. Fragile, man. Fragile.
Here's the thing, though. Beecher's sitting over there, and if they hold the lead here, he's going to get credit for the win in his first start. But there's the 4 picks. There's the fact that this offense, their longest possession, 34 yards. And that ended in interceptions. He can't feel great about his night and his job security.
That's a continuation, though, from last year's offense. So there's no development right now taking place there. If they win, it's a big deal. Getting Smelly in my opinion, is a big deal, too, because you get your number 2 guy ready, get him some reps.
And I would not be surprised if Chris Smelly comes out here and plays really well in this 4th quarter. I'm not so sure it's a guarantee Tommy Beecher starting next week against Vandy.
I'm with you. I think there's an opportunity here. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. We can't be unanimous on that. I do not think that'll happen.
Smelly wants to make an impression here with his opportunity. Davis, the setback on 3rd and 5, and he's got it. And he's got the first down across midfield. After DeMarco, fullback, nicely blocked, 10 yards.
A couple really nice runs here. Mike Davis on this drive right now. They're really starting to establish that lead draw. They're allowing him to play physical. He's falling forward, moving the chains for this offense.
Well, this is it. Remember, this defense was last in the ACC in rush defense last year. Out-rushed in the last 2 games, 386 to 67. So you want to improve and get better. And they, not really there all night.
Smelly checking the sidelines as the play clock winds to 5. It's a high throw, and it's caught by Mo Brown. Junior has had problems with the dropsies in his career. Goes up and gets that one.
Now, before you 2 guys get all Chris Smelly on me here, remember, the game, it's in the 4th quarter. Everybody's tired over there, right? So you can look a little bit better in a relief mode here.
You can, but I think Chris Smelly did a nice job there, just taking the steps, trusting Yuri. He let it fire. Mo Brown was where he needed to be. And that looked like a Steve Spurrier ball play.
I'm not getting carried away, Craig, but the guy had 4 picks. I mean, you got to rethink it, don't you, for week 2?
Spurrier on the sidelines. That's his senior telling him what to do. He made a play call from the sideline.
That's McKinley in the slot. Instead, it's a run for Davis. Davis arrows up the middle and inside the 20 for a first down.
Seeing that offensive line right now, South Carolina starting to grind down a little bit. Craig, you and I have been talking. They've been getting dominated in pass protection, but on run blocking so far this drive, they're getting a lot of push.
Yeah, you know what? Now it turns into the deal where you got a little tired defense, and they've lost their real eagerness for this football game, not coming off a block.
Well, guy coming off the field, was there a collision between 2 Wolfpack players? Justin Byers fell to the ground as he got near the sideline as he was coming off there. Davis in this drive alone has run of 9 yards, 10 yards, and now 12 yards. And first down, Smelly takes his shot for the end zone. Touchdown! Dion LaCorn was wide open. About time, says the head ball coach. 60 yards and 6 plays against a worn-out defense, and finally a good-looking possession for the Gamecocks.
Chris Smelly last year, the report card on him was he needs to make quicker decisions. That was a pretty solid one there.
It's a pretty quick, solid decision. That looked like a drive that we're used to seeing from Steve Spurrier offenses.
How many times have you seen that pass route over the years? Kick is good. And South Carolina now has the Wolfpack in a huge hole, 20 zip inside of 10 minutes. So Smelly off the bench, not the prettiest spiral, but good enough. We'll see what kind of a year Jim Harbaugh could have in year 2. Shocked the Trojans last year, but didn't have many high points. Evans just has to chuck it into traffic, and that's a nice catch. Coming back for the ball was Owen Spencer.
First time you said his name tonight, right? We've been looking for receivers to step up. The guy has been Mr. Spring, always does well in spring games, but hasn't transferred that over to the fall.
They don't have any players on the perimeter that have proven themselves to be big playmakers, and it wasn't panic mode for this NC State team up until that last touchdown. It's a 3-possession game now, and unfortunately for NC State, now they got to start throwing the football.
Checking the right knee of Andy Barbie, the backup center for the Wolfpack, and they'll just turn and take him toward the locker room. That was the longest play of the night, fellas. 19 yards there on that completion.
Well, now that Andy Barbie's out, that means Ted Larson might have to go back into center, and that's the guy. They've had problems with those shotgun snaps now. 2 fumbles, something to look for.
Well, you almost have to take away the shotgun now. At this point here, you got to get him up underneath the center and not ask Larson, if he's the center, to do another shotgun snap.
No question.
Well, so much for that.
Larson's back in there. Here comes the shotgun.
Good play, coach.
Fasten your seatbelts. Oh, it's high snap collected by Evans, and he just throws a prayer down the sidelines. It's intercepted. Stoney Woodson, his 5th career interception. The senior out of Tampa. That was just a desperation shot.
NC State's advantage in this game at wide receiver was their size advantage. They averaged 6'4". The DBs of South Carolina are only 5'10". But one thing they didn't think they were going to be able to do was be able to run by anybody. There's T.J. Graham. He's one of their fastest players, but that shows you his inexperience. You cannot run a go route with that much cushion and turn around and look at the quarterback 10 yards into your route.
And not have the presence of mind to turn defensive back when the ball's on the other side of the field.
And blowing a whistle now, and they review this.
It's under review.
It came from the booth. We'll send State inbounds along the near sideline. There's Graham playing defensive back. Clearly got the feet.
Did he have possession? Yeah.
Seems
the ball. Yeah. I don't think you can say anything conclusive about that to overturn it.
That's pretty good hands for a DB, because the receiver, Graham, elected for Woodson. Woodson's a guy who's played some safety, played some corner. Versatile, smart.
Thomas's job last year, and he was able to take that job because he played more consistently.
Little plays like that go down the road. This is a team that has a monster schedule. When the first 6-7 games this season, you say, okay, we're okay, but then those last 4 or 5 games of the season, it's SEC tough.
And it wasn't tough for this defense last year against the pass. They finished 4th in the nation last year in pass defense. That wasn't the...
And again, I think because the ball doesn't move and rotate from now on, from this point on, foot in, the ball stays in the same place. No rotation at all. He had possession of the football.
So that's 2 picks and now 2 fumbles for the NC State offense. 4 turnovers, 5 punts, lost it on downs. That kind of night, missed field goal, throw that in there too. It's a long one. And that's Davis taking the handoff from Smelly. Short game.
Really has set the tempo here. This offensive line, they came out and they kind of taken control. On the last drive, he had 32 yards running the football. Behind his pads, legs moving. He has 11 carries for 12 for 45 now on the day. But this is a guy that once he gets his pads moving, if you keep him off of him, you can throw the football.
Chris Smelly on this touchdown did a great job just seeing the middle of the field open. Vintage Spurrier drive with great balance.
Davis again. Mike Davis into the secondary. Finally a run down at the 15. $50 yards in the fatigue.
Most of the time the lineman does it. 56. Get up the field and lead the way and create a... How do you say that, Canadian?
Jean-Pierre.
That's Gene Pierre down in Texas.
That's right.
Sabon on the block, and first Frank trying to break free, dropped it to 10. Hang around. We'll teach you a little tennis, teach you some French.
I need it. I need it. My wife is always, Meryl's always looking for me to have a little more culture.
You guys just keep giving me flowers. It'll be perfect.
This is one of those games, guys, that when you look at the score, it's going to be deceptive, and it'll look like South Carolina was real in that way. But
it's a good point.
You know, it's a defense that's become worn down, and it seems like the Gamecocks smell blood. They've waited a long time tonight to bust out on offense. Accelerates.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
This is Rank. Bounces off a man and skips into the end zone. Out of Vancouver, Washington, records his first good practice player. His teammates surround him after the score.
Well, one thing that you're seeing right now is the SEC showing you what they're all about. You know what? The ACC needs to step up Saturday night against Alabama, don't they?
They are the clear favorite in this league against the team in the Tide that's picked 5th or 6th in the SEC. But score this night for the Southeastern Conference. And the freshman Graham take the low kick with the out across the 25. And we talked about that Alabama-Clemson game, a chance to see the Tigers and the Tide. Clemson with Cullen Harper, the top-rated senior quarterback prospect. Spiller and Davis. Aaron Kelly back in his native Atlanta against all those young guys for Alabama. Some of you will see Michigan State against Cal as the Golden Bears try to rebuild after the awful collapse at the end of last season. I don't get the dress-up thing for a football game down here.
They're just coming out of the office.
An incompletion, and they've gone to the third quarterback for the evening. It's Harrison Beck, who's got starting experience, junior out of Clearwater, as he checks in. Let's go back to Reese Davis.
All right, Chris, once again this season, we will be honoring the ESPN AT&T All-America Player of the Week. The Player of the Year last year was Michael Crabtree, the great wide receiver from Texas Tech. You can access the nominees every week. Just text VOTE to 87654 on your AT&T wireless phone, and we'll announce a winner each week. You'll have an opportunity to win a trip to the national title game.
All right, Reese. So this is back, another one of those experienced guys who was beaten out by Russell Wilson, getting his chance, and the ball is loose. And will be ruled incomplete. Beck, a guy who started last year before he got hurt. Big strut. Looks like our man Jess, look at the arms hanging out there. Looks like when Palmer was doing all the creatine, living in the weight room there. Huh? Chunky quarterback.
Chunky. Whoa.
Beck, I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
He'll appreciate that. But you know what? He throws the first ball to Anthony Hill, who's got to make the catch on that deal.
You saw Evans looking on. Beck faces a 3rd and 10. Wow, that wasn't going anywhere anyway. You look for Anthony Hill, the tight end, who was well covered. Jordan Lindsay on the pressure, 3 and out. How about the passing stats, fellas, for NC State tonight? 5 of 20 with 49 yards.
It's not what they're built to do. If they have to play catch-up in a lot of games and get into shootouts throwing the football, this team's not going to have a lot of success this season.
He was in for 3 plays and his shirt's already dirty.
That's a tough appearance.
You know that South Carolina defense right now just smells blood.
Captain, dangerous, catches the ball as he falls to the ground at the 25-yard line. Well, you talked at the top of the show about what a crazy act we have to follow this year in 2007. Michigan's loss to Appalachian State set the tone. One of those top 5 teams losing to an unranked team. History for LSU and Tebow.
Unreal. You know, the question is, Tebow, most folks believe that Florida has a very successful season, but maybe Tebow doesn't win the Heisman.
His stats can't possibly be as good as last year?
I don't know. He worked hard. You know what? He's going to have to do the 2020 deal again, and
Brian Maddox checking in for the Gamecocks. Well, they may have this. The Gators defense filled with question marks.
They are. You know, I think they're going to be a lot better than a lot of people think. I think it starts with improving that pass defense. They were last in the SEC last year.
In Florida, that didn't make opponents all that happy with the HBC.
Well, you know what? That pass right there is 35 yards. Their longest pass play last year was to a running back, 57 yards.
Tell you what, those are the things Coach Spurrier loves. If he dials it up, he wants it completed. And I'll say this offense has been operating very efficiently. There have not been a lot of balls dropped or thrown incomplete since Smelly's been in the game.
Now they went after Coyle George, who's the backup corner. He was in there filling in for Morgan. Now they'll hammer it with the starting tailback, Davis, the regular starter. You think O'Brien's over there enjoying the strategy here?
Oh, boy. Oh, the ball
they'll throw in deep up 27-0.
Well, it is his job to defend the run and the pass, you know. And Spurrier's over here trying to get a football team put together offensively, so I'm not against that. You know, but I will say this. Now, I feel like I've been placed in the defense mode here for Tommy Beecher, but it's a different game now that Smelly's in.
You mean the situation is different, or the offense looks different?
The situation's different.
Well, it's different because he scored 2 touchdowns. He's led them on 2 touchdown drives.
So you're saying you think the defense at NC State is the same in the tempo and the intensity as it was in the first half?
Absolutely not. I think all that has to get evaluated, but I'd argue the intensity on offense right now from South Carolina is higher as well.
Well, we're loading up the local press around here for Steve Spurrier. He's loving us right now.
I'll tell you what.
You know what? He's going to go in there. They're going to win the opener at least 27-0. And every question's going to be about what are you going to do for next week at quarterback. That's what's going to happen.
But you know, when does that not happen?
No.
When does that really not happen?
Well, Steve likes, you media boys are stirring it up. But the media boys, but you know, it's an obvious question as they measure at the 25-yard line. I mean, you know, Beecher had a pretty long leash. Who knows if he would have stayed in had he not made that gutsy play to run down there and dive and get close enough for a feed. They do have a first down, so
well, the thing about
Smelly,
with him in the offense, 15 plays, 182 yards. There's no question he's been productive, and he's not a bad quarterback. This isn't a guy that's never done it before, but, you know, you got to be fair to Beecher, too, in your analysis.
Tommy Beecher, he hasn't been really awful. He threw 4 picks. That's bad. But he did do some good things with his feet. He showed some guts. He might have won some leadership. You know, all these kind of things. These things have to be evaluated. You can't make decisions right now.
You know, Smelly's still throwing. And making a catch is Jason Barnes. And Jason Barnes is down near the 10. So a quarterback that hasn't been really awful. Hopes for redemption beginning next week. Will it be Beecher or Smelly when we head to Nashville? I've never seen a game in Commodore Stadium. Looking forward to it. Vanderbilt, convincing win over Miami of Ohio tonight.
All right, now this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And then you get into this stuff down here. Wow. Now that's serious business.
You know, it almost plays out a lot like last year. Win first year 6-7. You beat 11 Georgia. You beat number 8 Kentucky, and all of a sudden, boom, you hit that tough last 5-game stretch. That's tough.
Smelly looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Jared Cook. More ammunition.
You know what? I just think this. I don't know where y'all have been, but I think that Smelly needs to be the quarterback next week. I don't know what y'all are seeing in Beecher. It's a nice job. The play action, you know what, draws everybody up. And then recognition, seeing the ball in the back corner. Beautiful, beautiful pass to Cook.
It's a chance for Scott Spurrier, Steve's son, who's the backup holder, to get in here and hold the ball for Suckup. Gritty guy, goes 5'4". He's out there playing football in the SEC, even though he is a holder.
And a nice hold.
Brother Steve Jr., of course. So Smelly, 3 possessions and 3 touchdowns. Yes, against a fatigued defense, but he's looked pretty comfortable. 34-0.
It's a fatigued defense, but the balls are hitting the receivers in the face masks, and the balls are hitting the receivers in the hands.
Well, when you start looking at this thing here on the score, you got to put points on the board, right? And at the end of the day, that's what the coach has to evaluate. Who gives us the best chance to score?
Wait a minute. Now you're coming around. At 27-0, you weren't sold, but now at 34, you're going to make the change.
I am trying my best in this here political season to jump right back over and do a flip-flop with you here in the booth. I flop, boys. I'm with you.
That offensive line for NC State. Got a lot of soul searching to do. It's been a tough night against a very good defense loaded with perhaps future NFL players, but not what they expected. Not building on the success at the end of last season. And, you know, they were shut out in the last game against Maryland, so they got a consecutive quarter streak now without getting any points.
And then challenged, right?
Yeah.
Tom O'Brien, after that game, challenged them and really about being soft and not being physical.
They've got back-to-back shutouts unless they can put something on the board in the final 3.5 minutes.
I really appreciate you guys leaving that back door open for me to jump in the back seat on that.
It's wide open for you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Trying to do something on the return is Graham, but it'll be stopped short of the 20-yard line. Well, kickoff week presented by Gillette continues. Talked about the marquee non-conference games. The Volunteers head out to Pasadena, game 1 of the Rick Neuheisel era at UCLA. Presented by Jack Links as part of kickoff week presented by Gillette. 8 o'clock Eastern time, Labor Day night. Reese, Lou, Mark will be out there to set the table for you from the Rose Bowl. By the way, NC State's schedule isn't exactly soft. They don't play in the SEC, of course, but they do have to go to the Clemson Tigers in a couple of weeks. That may not be fun unless they can get this offense sorted out.
And you hear the fans here hollering, chanting SEC.
They're very proud of their league, and they should be. William and Mary, you got to believe that's a bounce back, but yeah, this one's tough. And I think these games here, guys, I think these are the swing games. These are the games that are going to kind of determine what kind of a season NC State has. Can they get to a bowl game? Pirates at home and then the Bulls on the 27th.
They got to win there. They need this. They need this. Upset here, perhaps.
That's a wish list, my friend.
I said upset.
You know what? Let's focus on William and Mary next week and getting some points on the board if you're the Wolfpack.
They may need to go see Coach Lou, or what do they call it, Dr. Lou.
Yeah.
Dr. Lou might need to make a visit to NC State.
I don't know. They're on East Carolina's schedule where Skip is coaching. You can't give a pep talk to his son's opponent, can you?
Well, it's a rebuilding process in NC State, no question. And Coach O'Brien told us, you know, the players have been beat up because they've had so many different systems the last couple of years with so many different coaches coming in. They're hoping now, though, to start reaping the fruits of their labor, having the players been in the same system now the last 2 years. They got to start showing some production next week.
Now, meanwhile, it's a pretty good debut for Ellis Johnson, the new defensive coordinator for South Carolina. Comes in here, and his guys pitching a shutout in the first game. Johnson, who had coached under Sly Crew in Mississippi State for the last 4 years. He was at Alabama. Actually took a job at Arkansas for a couple of weeks. He was going to go to work for Petrino, but then got the call. There's Ellis. Got the call from Steve Spurrier. He's a native of South Carolina from nearby here, and a chance to come home. And it's a pretty good debut for the D coordinator.
He made some comments about how good he thought this unit could be, and he's trying to convince them. Remember, Jesse, somebody tell you something? You wanted to know, should I really believe him?
Absolutely. I think right now, you know, this defense needs to prove themselves, and after they've gotten off to a great start tonight.
And the handoff to Curtis Underwood. South Carolina giving up only 10 first downs tonight. That was just the 10th.
And, Chris, this is a defense that went from a 3-4. They changed over there a 4-2-5. So they've not had a lot of time and snaps and reps with that defense.
When South Carolina gets into the SEC schedule, how do you think that 4-2-5 is going to play out?
Well, you got to get big, and they got two big ones in there, and Eric Norwood and Jasper Brinkley, big, heavy linebackers, but you got to be able to stop the run in the SEC.
You got to get them off the field on third down, and NC State just 4 for 13 tonight on third down. They'll face another third down here as Underwood is dropped for loss, and we check back with Reese.
Chris, a terrific game going on over on ESPN2 right now. Oregon State and Stanford tied at 17. As you see, Mike Riley very upset. There was a roughing the passer penalty called against his quarterback. Moyval has the Beavers on the move, though, midway through the third quarter, I should say. Excuse me.
Reese, thank you. I like the Pac-10, too. I know everybody agrees the SEC is clearly the strongest conference, but, boy, they play good football in the Pac-10 as well. And there's some better depth in that league than folks around these parts, want to realize. Well, he started the game on the bench. He busted into a fridge. He got caught on a surveillance camera. He didn't start, but Mike Davis off the bench to be our Wrangler 5-star player of the game, 132 total yards, and he had the touchdown on the 4th down run.
Well, they'll run through the tape hard on this ball game. Both coaching staffs. South Carolina's got a lot more upside. Tom O'Brien, a long flight home, my friend.
It sure does. He's got to go back. They need to regroup. They need to reevaluate what they're doing on both sides of the football. If you're South Carolina right now, they got way